Okay, a very good morning everybody from the flight deck once again. Welcome aboard. It's Captain Nabs here for you with another Pilot's Life live on Twitch live stream here. And again, it's been a long time, so welcome aboard everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I can't believe how fast this summer is going by, and yeah, I am excited to do a flight with you today, and hopefully this one will be successful. Tried to do this about, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and got airborne, got about 10 minutes into the flight, realized the flight tracker was not tracking. My Pilot's Life career was not tracking my flight for some reason. Even though it said it was connected, it never recognized the fact that we taxied, took off, and got airborne. So it was, I was very frustrated that day, to say the least. And a bunch of stuff had kind of not been going well in the stream. So I pulled the plug on it that day and said, let's do it again another day. So that's what we're here to do today, everybody. So welcome back to the stream. And what are we doing today? Let's get this show on the road, and we can talk as we go here. So today's objective, today's operation is, I don't know how well you can see that there, probably not at all, but if I put this on here like that, then I'm here. Hello everybody, and then the window is up there as well, that you guys can all see. So today's flight is, and I'm not sure if I can even zoom out because I know it likes to auto zoom here, but we are going from Milan, where we were. Yeah, let me just turn off the auto follow, and that should, there we go, that'll do it. Milan in northern Italy up to Copenhagen in Denmark. So that is our flight for today. Milan up to Copenhagen. It's about a 2-hour and a bit flight. So plenty of time to kind of get that going. We've got some ATC online, assuming they don't log off in the next little bit. They've been here for a little while now. Let me just see if I can follow myself here on my VATSIM radar, but yeah, they've been online for a little while. We've had Milan Center, I think they're Milan Center, Milan Radar online for a little bit now, and hopefully they don't log off before we get going here, because it's been quite a few minutes since they logged on. But yeah, that's what we're up against today. We're going to try and get that done as best we can and as realistic as we can every step along the way. Looking across the bottom of the Pilot's Light, everything is connected. Server, MSFS, pre-flight stage, it all looks good. So we're going to hope that that carries on and continues. And we're going to check it during the taxi out. If it doesn't work during the taxi out, we'll stop and troubleshoot it before we get airborne. Because once you get airborne, it's not going to trigger again. It's not going to play catch up. You have to go through every stage in sequence in order for it to proceed to the next stage. If it doesn't recognize that a stage has started for whatever reason, it will not proceed to any further stages. So we really need to make sure that that the stages do progress properly. So regardless, we're going to try and get this show on the road here. We are still working for Scandinavian Airlines. I mean, this is only the second flight I'm doing for Scandinavian Airlines, trying some flying in Europe, and it's been a bit of an eye opener, a bit of a revelation. It's been a little bit more interesting, focused on the nitty-gritty. Well, it got really quiet there. I guess whoever it was shut down their engines. Yeah, really focused on the nitty-gritty of flying and communicating, because there's usually so much ATC, especially during this window where I like to live stream, generally 1300 Zulu kind of start time. It puts us kind of right in the middle of the afternoon in Europe, so we tend to get a lot of ATC, which is great. I just got to stop talking enough to pay attention to what the ATC is telling me. That was my fault last time. I was on frequency with the controller. I did not answer, and I checked in, and then there was a lot of traffic going on. So I started talking about other stuff as well on stream, and I missed radio calls because I was focused on what I was talking about and not what they were talking, and not them calling me. So hopefully we will try to rectify that today and not fall into that same trap. But yeah, as always, we've got our Fenix A320 from Scandinavian here with the beautiful IAE engines and the nice modern paint job. And the big Fenix update did drop last week, I believe, or maybe it was just the end of the week before. I did install it all last week. I tested it out for like one or two flights. Very little, but there are some noticeable improvements, and we'll talk about them as we get going here. The exterior model doesn't look all that different. There were apparently quite a few differences. Offhand, in this version in 2020, you don't notice that many differences. It was more in 2020 it was more in 2024 where they were working on like level of detail models and stuff. There's a lot of advantages to the big update in 2024. So they have level of detail models where, depending on your distance from objects in the airplane and the airplane itself, things will be drawn at different precisions, or maybe if you're further away, lower poly models so that you can get more detail up close. But when you step back, you know, when you're at the back of the airplane looking forward to the flight deck, you don't see all the little tiny details because you're 100 feet away. So they apparently took a lot of advantage of level of detail in 2024. I don't have 2024 yet, still on the fence about it. Maybe one of these days I will finally buckle down and buy it, but let's explore the differences here in 2020 anyways. The other thing that was also big is that they added a lot of exterior details to 2024 for the walk-around mode. So when you can actually get out and walk around the airplane, walk down the stairs, walk down the jet bridge, walk around the airplane, they added all sorts of details that you can do to service the airplane. So everything like the, let's see if I can find some of the stuff here. If I can make this thing move here. Things like, for example, the here just closed on this. It's a fully interactive panel. It opens all the switches inside at work. Call in the flight deck. You can plug and unplug the power, the GPU cord. All that sort of stuff works in there. One that you can get into all the hydraulic panels. They increase the amount of detail in all of the landing gear bays. One that they made a really big deal about. Not all that much here, but is this one right here? Panel. Which we can't actually do anything with in 2020, but in 2024 it's a fully in walk-around mode. It's a fully interactive panel. You can actually drop it down. You can actually select the fuel level. The panel is fully interactive, fully realistic. You can select a fuel level on that fuel panel, and your fueler, whether it be GSX or a default system, will fuel the airplane to your desired level. Like the system is fully, the fueling system, the refueling system is fully modeled in the 2024 walk-around mode. So lots of neat stuff they did that doesn't necessarily trickle back down to 2020. Lots of stuff they did that does trickle down to 2020, but some things that don't as well. So that's unfortunate, but that is just the way. That is the way it is. Even in the other neat one that everyone seems to really like is also, if you're on the walk around in 2024, you can spin the fan blade. So you can walk up here, you can grab a fan blade, use your mouse to click it, to drag it, and it will spin the fan blades, and you can check the fan blades are turning freely by walking up and actually moving them, which is just, again, little touches like that, but will add a lot of immersion. I mean, you could do a pretty realistic walk around of this airplane now in 2024. 2020 we didn't get that because that's not a feature of 2020 itself, but Fenix did include quite a few updates. There are some modeling updates, sound updates. I did notice the sound. You won't notice it too much right now because nothing's running, but for example, they created a very dynamic sound model when you are moving in around the airplane, especially in and out of the airplane. You'll notice different levels of sound. So if the flight deck door is open and the external door is open, the L1 door is open, you'll hear the APU and the packs quite loudly, the brake fans if they're running, whatever outside noises. If you close the flight deck door or the L1 door, either of those, will reduce the ambient volume of those things because, of course, we're blocking out the most immediate sound path. So there is quite a lot of much more accurate sound modeling in the 2020 Fenix update from the last week as well, and there's some other neat features too. So I don't want to spend too long talking about it because I want to get going while we still have ATC here in Milan. So let's go ahead and hop back in that flight deck. There we are. Welcome back aboard. The other thing you might notice, and this is the other big, big difference with the big update, is the color of the elements in the flight deck. They sat down in a real A320 and using actual color detecting devices went through and picked out the exact precise color of all these different elements that they were approximating before. So things look a little bit different now. Not super different, but a little bit different. Excuse me, I'm getting a sore throat already, and I've only been talking for 5 minutes. So some of the things that look quite a bit different here, not that button there, especially the colors on the displays, the EDs, the NDs, PFDs. SDs, you'll notice the green especially is a slightly different shade of green. It's a bit of a brighter, more lime green, as opposed to, it used to look almost exactly the same color as the landing gear lights here, which were a bit of a darker green. But they've definitely adjusted that color. The oranges are also, the ambers are also quite a bit different. I think they should be a bit yellower. Apparently this is correct, and this is probably just the rendering of it on my computer screen, but they actually went into the flight deck and they actually went and check the colors of all these things using actual color detecting devices to get the exact shade without worrying about sunshine and all that sort of stuff, diffusing a color or whatever. So these are apparently supposedly now very, very, very precise color matches. So you'll notice some very slight differences in the color of these things. It's still all the same information, but the colors are slightly different. And I did notice that as soon as I got in, especially the green. It's definitely a little bit of a brighter, limier color. And even down here, it looks more sort of similar to this. So I think they got in an airplane that had different screens of different ages that were worn different amounts. And so the green on the different screens came up different amounts, which is realistic. I mean, these are 6 individual screens. They're supposed to be the same. Through manufacturing processes and wear and tear and aging and whatnot, they may not always be exactly the same color. As long as they convey the information, as long as they're approximately green, we all know what they mean. But yeah, they may not be exactly the same color. So I think that's a bit of what happened in here. But there's definitely some changes in the coloring of especially the screens. Same thing on the MCDUs. The green, again, is a little bit of a brighter color than it was before, a little bit of a limier color than it was before. I don't know how else to say it, like a little bit of a brighter green, less deep than the landing gear lights. So there is definitely some differences I noticed. I noticed taxiing felt a bit nicer. I definitely noticed the difference with taxiing. They did rework some flight dynamics and especially the taxi dynamics, and I did notice the taxiing where it feels a bit nicer. It's hard for me to make that judgment because I still have this faulty tiller axis in my Thrustmaster side stick, so it's not a great tiller axis. I would love to get a dedicated tiller to make it just a little bit more realistic, but for now this is what I've got to go with. Unfortunately, because it's so jumpy, it's hard to make that judgment, but it did feel, for what I felt, it felt like the ground handling was also a little bit more realistic without having actual what am I trying to say here, without having actual feelings, like actually being able to feel the airplane move. It's sometimes hard to correlate the dynamics, especially of ground handling, to just what you see on a screen. A lot of ground handling, it's done by what you see, but it's also done by feel. You can feel when you're turning the airplane too sharply. You can feel yourself sliding sideways. You know that you've done something a little bit too aggressively. You don't see that. You don't get that necessarily through a visual look. So it's a little bit still. There's more feel to taxiing than just looking. But I think Fenix has done a pretty good job. They've definitely improved upon what they had before. Anyways, I've been yammering around now for 15, 20 minutes here. Let's get underway with this flight here. So we hopped in the flight deck, and to start with, we have nothing but external power on. We've got nothing else turned on. So first of all, we have to get those batteries on. And that's something else that I did notice. Actually, I might just crank this way up for you guys. It might be a little bit loud for a second here, but even the sound of the relay sounds more realistic now. You can hear the battery relay clinking in the background, and that, in some airplanes, it is very loud. That's a little bit quiet still, but it's definitely got more presence than it had before. You never even noticed it when you did it before. But you definitely notice some of these sound effects now kicking in. We need the oxygen supply on. We need the lamp lights at number 1, and then we can start initializing our ACARS system here. So, actually, sorry, not our ACARS system. What am I saying? We need to initialize our IRSs. So first, we just swap the database to make sure we clear out any previous data in there, and go to the init page. GPS primary lost. Yes. All right. So let's put in our flight number really quickly here. SAS 1686. And then our routing here, so we can initialize the ACARS. LIMC slant EKCH. And go to the IRS init page, and from our flight plan, if I can drag it over here. It's probably a little bit smaller than you guys need to see. Something more like that. Flight log. So Milan Malpensa is at north 4537.8. north 537.8. This is GPS here, or the reference point for the airport, and east 843.4. So 843.4 east. That is accurate. We're going to align on that reference point. Let me just take a quick look at my V-Pilot. We do still have center online. Ooh, we even have a ground now. Oh, beautiful. We're getting more ATC, not less. Fantastic. So let's do a couple things while we're waiting here. What we can do is we can go into the ATSU system here. And first of all, we can request an ATIS. So we can find out what we're doing for departure if I can type the keys correctly. Oh, for crying out loud. I've been having my mouse issues. I'm not sure if it's mouse, if it's Windows, or what. I tried changing the battery. It's still, it seems to do these weird kind of half clicks or double clicks, where things do not, the clicking is not solid like it used to be. I don't know, maybe the mouse is just getting old. Anyways. All right, received ATIS. All right, to LIMC, arrival departure ATIS Foxtrot, 1250 Zulu. Type of approach is ALA Zulu runway. Arrival runway in use 35 right. Departure runway in use 35 left. Wind 250 at 6, variable between 170 and 310. Temperature 27 dew point. Well, QNH 1018. So I'm going to put that on my mini EFIS there. 1018 QNH is there, and I should probably adjust it on the standby as well at the same time so I don't forget. And apparently they are doing CPDLC on LIMC, so we can also go back in here and request our pre-departure clearance on CPDLC. So let's go in here. AOC. Shouldn't really do this till we've initialized the flight, actually, so why don't we do this? Actually, before we do that, let's do this. Let's start boarding. Or let's start loading the aircraft anyways. GSX boarding and refueling. And while that's, I swear I updated GSX yesterday. And it says it's out of date already? Jesus. Alright. So we'll open up the cabin door so we can hear things outside, hear people boarding and everything. Alright, IR align in 6 minutes. It's going to start fueling shortly here. Now we can go in here. So normally we should read the IRSs align. I'm going to just rush the process a little bit here just because I want to have a little bit of fun. I'm always worried about ATC leaving. So we'll just initialize the flight here. You're supposed to let the IRSs align to make sure that they use the best ACAR system possible by feeding an accurate location into the ACAR system, because the ACAR system automatically tunes in different radio frequencies based on where it is. So if the IRSs are not aligned, it doesn't have a good feed. It may not always use the correct location. So SAS-23 Alpha is the other call sign, but we're going to just do it under the 1686 call sign. So that is the correct flight. LIMC-EKCH, alternate EKAH. Estimated time on Route 157. That sounds very reasonable. And so with that, we can now go ATC request pre-departure clearance. And let's see here. What gate are we at? Should be outside there. 602. Oops. Wrong button. So gate 602. ATIS ID, and I got it over here. No, where did I get it here? Okay, so let's do it this way. No, I can't do it this way. Haha, funny. This is when a printer would come in handy. I totally forget what the ATIS was. So, let's just check it. ATIS is Foxtrot. Alright. Remember that. Remember that, Foxtrot. Okay. You can hear noises louder because the door is open. ATIS ID Foxtrot A320 LIMC is the station for the CPDLC request. Send. And that should now go out to the ground controller. He should send us back something in a little while. Oh, and here comes probably the standby. Perfect. The system is working. While we're waiting for that, the only thing is because we're supposed to depart off 35 left, but the flight plan is departing off 35 right, so I don't think the SID is valid for 35 left. But anyways, let's go ahead and get the secondary. Do some stuff with the ACAR system while we wait for the IRSs to finish aligning here. Alright, AOC secondary flight plan uplink cleared. Alright, so let's have a look at the secondary flight plan. LIMC to EKCH, Oscar, Nesty, Takeoff Rwy, Cronin. Does that match what's in my... let's see here. Oscar, Nesty, Takeoff Rwy. Yeah, that all seems to match. So I think we are looking at the right one. We're going to go through it in more thoroughly anyways in the future. So we'll go ahead and activate that. And check takeoff data. Yes. Speaking of which, let's get some takeoff data. Alright, so based on the ATIS, I'm going to plan 3-5 left. It looks like a dry runway out there. 67 tons, I'm going to change that to 67.5 just to give us a margin. Optimal flap, not force token, no anti-ice packs on. And let's just resync that. It just does look accurate. 1018 does sound right, 27 degrees. And let's go ahead and calculate that for a full length departure. Flaps 1, flex 68, 155, 155, 155. That all looks good. Okay, so I think we got some takeoff data. Any chance we got a response from our pre-departure clearance? We did not. They're discussing what SID we can file to go that way. Because we discovered that last time that we had... I don't think the 35 left went on that SID. I think it was only 35 right. But let's have a quick look at Navigraph here. Alright. Come on. Make this a reasonable size so you guys can all see and follow along while Navigraph tries to figure out what it's doing here. Alright. See, this one is for 3-5 right only. Can I... Let's see here. Okay, so let's go to info here. Open airport, and let's go and let's look at... filtered for runway 17 left. No, I don't want 17 left. I want 3-5 left. Filter for 3-5 left. What runway, what departure options do I have here? So SRN 1 Tango, 3-5 right. But I don't want 3-5 right, I want 3-5 left. Is there... Let's see here. This is our flight plan here. So do we have a bunch that take us up here. Off of 3-5 left. See, that's the thing, is if they depart 3-5 left, they all seem to be a left turn to avoid the terrain. So I wonder if that's why I kind of sent this early. I want to see if they do get the request. Doesn't seem like they're getting the request anyway, so we may have to get creative here. Possibly do things out of order. Well, anyways, it looks like the IRS is aligned, so we'll start with the overhead flow, and if we haven't gotten anything back by the time we're ready to start FMS programming, we might call for the clearance first just to make sure we program in the correct departure, rather than program and reprogram. Okay, alright, so quick overhead flow here today. We're going to say it's not the first flight of the day just to get this all underway. Alright, heard the beep there. No circuit breakers popped overhead. Not the first flight of the day. Fueling is still in progress, so we're going to leave the pumps off for now. I was smart enough to put preconditioned air on while we're sitting at the gate, so the temperature in the cabin and the flight deck should be pretty reasonable. 25, 24, it's not bad. Very reasonable. Preconditioned air is definitely doing its job, so we're not going to worry too much about that. It is warm, but it's not like smoking hot. It's pretty hot, 27 degrees outside, but we're not going to worry about starting the APU yet. And actually, what am I doing here? I'm forgetting my other thing here. Let's start setting up.
Roger.
I'm forgetting the fact that I have FS2 crew, because I never use it, because it doesn't follow my company SOPs. Actually, no, sorry. We can't turn the seatbelt on because we're still refueling. He's going to try to restart. He's going to try to start the APU in 1 moment here, and then I'm going to intercept him before he does that. Let's get constraint on. Let's get those over there. Still got 100 feet there. That's fine for now. 1018 is good. This thing needs to be aligned. And it's funny because like every European airport says do not start the APU more than 5 minutes prior to departure, and yet every day this guy tries to start the APU right away. Let's go break to get standby company message. And that's only the load sheet. This is the only company message. Alright, there he goes with the APU fire test. That's fine. He's going to turn it on. And I'm going to turn it off. So the start button won't do anything, and it's not going to start it now because it's much too early. You can't start an APU 30 minutes before departure.
I'm out for the walk around.
If it's necessary for cooling purposes, or cooling or heating purposes, if preconditioned air is not able to keep up with the cabin. But under normal circumstances, one would not start the APU 30 minutes prior to departure. All right, I'm going to turn you off altogether because that way I have control. All right. See here, ground is on 21.9, so let's go ahead and get that frequency in. Make sure we got all the frequencies we need. 21.9 and 2835 tower. 2835. Alright, Cal, that's off, weather plus terrain, temperature is off, spoiler retracted, the air door is open. Alright, pressure page is at auto status. Cat 2 and up is normal. Just let's make sure they do move properly. TARA, and that's good. Alright, so we got a 1FT2 altimeter, or sorry, QNH 1018 indicating 730 feet, QNH 1018, 730 feet, QNH 1018, 730 feet. And heading is 165, 165, 165, 165, and 165. Alright. I don't think we got an answer to our pre-departure clearance request, despite the fact that it says it's available. So, we'll do this. Is it Malpensa or is it Milan? Look at the chart. Because the chart will tell you what to call. That just says tower, but this does say Malpensa delivery, so. Malpensa ground, good morning Scandinavian, good afternoon Scandinavian 1686, looking for clearance to Copenhagen. And could you just say the departure SID again, please? Thank you. Scandinavian 1686 cleared to Copenhagen. Irkut 7 Alpha departure. Oscar 6 Zulu transition. Depart 35 left. Climb initially 5,000 and squawk 0475. Alright, so now we got our answer, so let's go ahead and put in the squawk code while I'm just looking at it down here, 0475. Alright. And then I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of him just because it's going to get too noisy otherwise. Okay, so now we got something we can do here. Let's go ahead and start setting this up. Nav accuracy upgrade, GPS is primary, that's good. Okay, so starting with the aircraft status, it's an A320-200 with V2527 Alpha 5 engines. Database is current until the 6th of August, that's another 2 days. Performance factor from the flight plan of +0. And I'm not going to be detuning anything today, so let's just make sure that nothing is detuned. Deselect is nothing, RadNav is active. Initialization, again, Scandinavian 1686. LIMC-EKCH with an alternate of key EKAH. That's all correct. Gonna go to my flight plan here and just check for the... Alright, what do we got? Cost index. Let's see here. Cost index of 60. Cruising initially at, we'll call it 360. At 180 is just because it's a low-level airway there that we level off in briefly. But cost index 60, flight level 360. That's good. And so departure. It's runway 35 left. It was the Irkut 7 Alpha. Irka 7 Alpha. And then the Oscar 6 Zulu transition. So 35 left, Irka 7 Alpha, Oscar 6 Zulu. So that's in. And that should take us directly at Oscar into our flight plan route. Perfect. And then arrival Copenhagen. It's a little bit early, but let's just let's see what the flight plan has to offer us anyways here. So the flight plan is offering a routing of 22 left, Monarch 4 Charlie from Monarch. Alright, so let's try that. We can always change this once we get underway. So we'll do an ILS 22 left for now. Monarch 4 Charlie it was. No transition published, so just Monarch it is. ILS 22 left. If we go to the airport end here and go backwards, see a whole bunch of fixes, but it does look like there's no discount here at Monarch at the end of our flight plan. So I think we kind of got everything in there. What I'm going to do is bring this up here and just put this, zoom that out a little bit there, and then I'm going to scroll through it here on my, I could do it this way, on the flight plan here, and we're going to go through the charts as well. So,
I'm back. No issues on the walk around.
Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, so what are we doing? We need not stars, we need SIDS. Irkut 7 Alpha is what we're looking for. And then the Oscar, I saw it there, Oscar 6 Zulu transition. Oscar 6 Zulu. Okay, so Irkut 7 Alpha. SIDS are also minimum noise routing, strict adherence to limits performance is mandatory. Close-in obstacle. Yeah, we got a lot of terrain up there to the directly to the north, so we got to turn pretty quick. So 1200 plus. So let's move this in such a way that we can see all of this. All right. So 1200 plus. Yeah, I see that on the FMC. MC623. I might need to zoom this in even just a little bit just to confirm that I can see that. Yes, 210, max 210 and above 1800. And then MC624 above 3000, and no speed on that one. Max 220 knots in the turn though, which still carries through anyways to MC632, so that's fine. MC632, 220, 4000 and above, and then 6000 above by ATC, and then Irkut at 6000 and above, and that's where we start the transition of the Oscar 6 Zulu from Irkut. There it is, Irkut. 123 up to SRN, and I'm just going to use my WinWing MCDU here just to start scrolling through the flight plan just so you can see everything. SRN, and then we go over to Alper above 095 and Oscar above 12.5 and proceeding 11,000 proceeding L615, which is eastbound, which is not what we're doing, so 12.5 by Oscar. So all of that is in there correctly, and then we're on to our flight plan route. Let's just check that against the flight plan. Let's just check that against the flight plan. Okay, so M985 Tageip, Breno Conan, Chemis Lasga, M-Box, M726. If you look on the MCDU, you can see M726 to Rosoc. So we're all M726 all the way to Rosoc here. There's Rosoc. After Rosoc, it's Quebec 296. Quebec 296 to all the way to Monac. So Nick to Monac, and then that's where the arrival starts. We'll review the arrival when we actually get underway. So that all looks good. Everything's in the box that needs to be in there. RadNav, we're going to leave it on auto-tune for now. Secondary.
Hi, the security and safety checks are all done. Can we start boarding now?
Go for it.
Okay.
So the secondary, what we're going to do is we're going to copy the active, and then after SRN, what we're going to do is we're going to put an immediate return. Don't walk up on me now. That's weird. The secondary function seems to be having some problems here. Maybe it's my mouse. Alright. After SRN, we're going to do a return to LIMC. So this is our emergency return. If something very sudden and catastrophic happens, we're going to have an ILS Zulu 35 right programmed in. All we have to do is activate the secondary, and we have an ILS tuned up and ready to go, and we can return very quickly. All right, init Bravo page. So now we can start with the weights. Taxi point 2, route reserve of 0, and then from the flight plan here, alternate is going to require, where is it here? Alternate is going to require 1.0, final reserve 1.1, 1.0, 1.1, and ZFW. So we can go over here for this. We've got a final load sheet, 59.5 by 31.8. Oops. 51.5 by 31.8, I believe I said. Let's just check that again. 31.8, yeah. And block fuel, we look up here, 77, we'll call it 7.7 by the time we get going here. 59 tons. And what did I do takeoff weight for? I did takeoff weight for 67.5 tons. Something ain't right here. Something does not add up. That is a gigantic discrepancy. So according to the flight plan, 59.5. My load sheet is wrong, I think. $59.5, not 50.5. 59.5. So I made the mistake. There it is, 67 tons. That's more reasonable. And if there's a mistake, you got to find it. If there's something doesn't add up, that's one of the big things in aviation. People just kind of like, it's fine. And it's like, no, it's minor things like, okay, a mile or two discrepancy on a calculation. Rounding error is okay. But when you've got a difference of 7 tons, something's not right. Okay, so trip wind from the flight plan as well. Let's get the wrong button. Sorry about that. From the flight plan, the average trip wind is going to be minus 57. So let's do that. And then we should get a calculation that approximates what's in the flight plan here once it finishes recalculating. This is one thing that they should do. When you change some of the performance parameters and have to make recalculation, it doesn't leave the old parameters displayed. It blanks out the old parameters until the calculations are finished. It doesn't leave the old parameters displayed, so you know that it's running a calculation. It's one thing that Fenix does not do realistically. All right, so trip time 202, 4.9 tons. We got 157, 5.1. It's very ballparkish anyways. It's within reason. A 200 kilo 5% error is reasonable on a burn. Like to be more precise, but if you put a routing in that's different, that alone could make a difference of a couple percent. And this was planned off of 17 left, I think. So I think that's why. Okay, and the extra 0.7. So we should have. Oh, wait, where'd my extra fuel go? I had extra fuel. I think I know. I changed the aircraft type. I had extra fuel planned originally on the. This is release 2. No, it's OFP1. No, I had 25 minutes of extra weather fuel planned in there, but then I think I had to change the aircraft type, and then it resets the weather field. It resets all the fuel fields when you change the aircraft type because it wasn't defaulting to Fenix. Okay, so we're going to make a second flight plan here, and we're going to load a little bit of extra gas because we don't want to take off with minimum gas. 0.7 extra is not bad. That's your contingency plus a little bit of a rounding error, but there's also a chance of some lower ceilings later on in the day in Copenhagen, so I'd like to have a little bit of extra gas. So this brings our block fuel to 92. So let's just do that. So we'll call the fuel guy back, and we'll call the fuel guy back. We'll tell him that the dispatcher made a mistake and we need more gas, and they'll say okay. And here comes 92.50. All right, so then we have to also just we'll call it 9.3 block fuel, which then takes us to 68.6. So we'll do 69 ton numbers over here on the MCDU. 69 and calculate. So now what I'm going to do is OFP revision. Annoying. It is what it is. Here's the new OFP. Come on. I don't know what's going on with this mouse lately. If it's just Windows, it's just running super slow, but like maybe I'm not being deliberate enough with clicking on it. I don't know. Lately it's been very problematic. Okay. Yeah, so this is OFP number 2 now, so our total fuel 9.2. Alternate and final reserve aren't changed. Our burn should be about the same, 54, 151. Still 5.0202. It's within reason. We definitely got some extra fuel now to burn on the way up there. Okay. Yeah, so that's all checked. So we're going to zero out the winds and get some actual winds via ACARS. And then perf will go again over here. We'll send this data. So we should have flaps 1, flex of 66, 56, 56, 57, 1700, 2200. And it's a transition of 6000. 166, 156, 156, 157. So flaps 1, flex 66, 156, 156, 157, 6000 transition, 1700, 700, 2200. It's all good. 218, the green dot speed. I'm not going to pre-select for the climb because we've got a few speed restrictions on the departure, and then after that we'll accelerate to 250. Wind data uplink. So let's go wind data. Blue for climb, cruise, and descent phase. And actually, here's something else that I noticed that is different, that is better now on the perf page. It used to be if you did pre-select a speed, so I'm going to pre-select a speed of 250 now just for the fun of it. If you did pre-select a speed for the climb phase, it would show that as your managed cruise speed as well, which is not correct. This is correct. Even if you have a pre-selected climb speed, when you enter a new phase, it should reset to managed flight unless you pre-select something else new. So now this behavior has been corrected by Fenix, and it does show our managed 7-9 in cruise. Okay, what else we got here? Prog page. 36 is our planned cruise. Optimal's at 34. Max is 37.3. It's a little bit tight, but that should be okay. Just for a distance check, we're going to put in the destination here. It's showing 617 miles. GPS primary navigation high. RMP is required as automatic. And again, here we have our ground distance of 720. Sorry, our great circle distance of 618 is what we're looking for, which it is 618 to EKCH direct. And finally, IRSs are all navving with a 0.4 bias. All right, that seemed like a really long setup, but again, Europe seems to be more complex and doesn't help when my flight plan is erroneous to begin with. Okay, so clearance we've already talked about. I wrote down the details here, but it is the Irkut 7 Alpha and the Oscar 6 Zulu transition. Initial altitude is 5,000, so I'm going to set that right now, 5,000. 35 left departure runway. We do the Squawko 0475. Set. Yeah, there it is. All right. We've already checked through all the waypoints, so are you ready for the departure briefing?
Parking brake or chocks.
Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Are you ready for the takeoff briefing? Are you ready for the departure briefing? Okay. Frankly, I don't care anymore.
Go ahead.
There we go. All right, it also brought this up to remind me. Radar required, pushback required. Takeoff is config 1+F. Thrust is reduced. Threats. Takeoff runway is 35 left. 156, 156, 157. That's all good. 66. Cruise altitude, transition altitude 6,000. That all looks good. Perfect. Start engines 1, then 2. That's the plan. Okay, so again, technical status of the aircraft. There's no faults in the aircraft. I'm just trying to get through flying in Europe, and that alone is a challenge on its own. And no TAMs. I didn't see anything substantial. There is some construction around here, but we've got some ATC to vector us around that now. So the departure today is the... Nope, not that one. It's this one, the
Alright
EKCH.
guys, here's a load sheet for you.
Thank you.
No problem, have a safe flight.
Okay, while I'm thinking about it here, since I'm going to start this whole rigmarole anyways, we might as well start this APU now. Alright, because we're going to be ready to push within the next 5 minutes or so ahead of schedule. Okay, so again, the departure today is the EKCH 7 Alpha departure from Milan Malpensa, 10-3 Foxtrot. SID routings are also minimum noise routings. Strict performance is mandatory, and there are close-in obstacles. We are aware of terrain to the north up to 14,900. So we are going to follow these turns away from that terrain quickly. Anything happens to the FMS system, it's an immediate turn towards the south. Yeah, the routing constraints are all as published. The top altitude 5,000 issued by ATC has been set, and it is also the Oscar 6 Zulu, which also has all the routing constraints are all in the FMS and lead us to the transition at Oscar. Okay, so we did, we did the SID. Noise abatement it is follow the SID, and engine out procedure is also follow the SID to keep us away from the terrain. At least the initial part of the SID as far as Sierra Romeo November, then we'll ask for ATC vectors after that, back for the runway 35 right. Performance in the box today for the left seat departure off of runway 35 left. It's dry runway, no takeoff shift, flaps 1, flex 66, V1 156, VR 156, V2 157, standard transition 6,000, and 1700, 1700 for thrust reduction acceleration, engine out acceleration at 2200. 217, the green dot speed is not pre-selected for the climb, and I don't think I can clear this out. I wish I could, but I can't clear that out now, so we're going to have to manage it as soon as it clicks on up to 250, because we have to stay at 220 until we get around all those turns. Or what I could do is I could just go 220 for the initial restrictions, and then remember to manage it as we get going here. Yeah. We've got Climb Blue, Nav Blue. We got the autopilot on shortly after departure, since it's complex airspace with ATC and terrain nearby, so we want to make sure we are tracking and monitoring the flight closely. And on the MCDU, the RadNav is auto-tuned. We are above max landing weight for an immediate return, so it'll be flaps 3 and packs off, unless we have time to run the checklist. Secondary's got us coming back to runway 35 right here in Milan. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I think he's got everything. Let's just have a quick look around here. Alright, so the APU has started. I'm going to start a timer for the APU bleed here. Take away the external power. Fueling is done. We've got all the fuel we need. Actually, I didn't check to see if we have any fuel in the center tanks. We probably actually don't, so we should probably leave those center tank pumps off. And I think that's everything. Seatbelts on. Pre-flight checklist. Cockpit preparation checklist.
Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Fuel quantity.
9,200 kilograms.
Seat belts.
On.
ADIRS.
Nav.
Barrow ref.
1018. QNH 1018. QNH 1018.
1018. Set. Cockpit preparation checklist completed.
All right. It's been a while since I've done this, and you can tell how rusty I am at certain aspects of this streaming and everything else. So But it seems like my tracking's all ready to go here. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the beacon on to indicate to the ground crew that we're ready for pushback. We're going to go ahead and get the APU bleed on. Malpensa ground, Scandinavian 1686, stand 602, request pushback and engine start.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Push and start approved, Scandinavian 1686. Alright, push and start is approved. Before start checklist.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome
Parking
to
brake.
you all. My name is Jasmine and I'm your cabin supervisor on your flight today. We would like to extend a warm welcome to our frequent flyers and guests from other international partner airlines.
Alright,
So we can depart as soon as possible.
I'm going to turn up the
Secure
audio
assigned
on
seats, observe the no smoking
my
and
crew
fasten
because I'm having a hard time
signs.
hearing what the
Only
ATC.
light-hand baggage should be placed in the lockers above you. All other items
Repeat
must be
last.
placed under the seat in
Parking
front of
brake.
you. If you are sitting by an emergency exit,
Set.
all of your hand baggage needs to be securely stowed in the overhead
Set.
locker, and the crew will be happy.
Takeoff speeds and thrust.
We are here to help, so please do not hesitate to ask any one of us for a seat.
V1 156, VR 156, V2 157, flexing 66 degrees.
V1 1 5 6 VR 1 5 6 V2 1 5 7 flex temp 6 6 degrees. Windows.
Closed.
Beacon.
On.
Before start checklist completed.
Please parking brakes.
Alright, it's having a little hard time hearing GSX there as well, so I turned them up as well. Alright.
Radar
Oh.
and predictive wind shear system.
Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Sometimes I forget he's listening to me every single minute of the day. Alright. I hope they said that they're ready for brake release. I'm just going to have a look outside. And, looks like they're hooked up and ready to go. Pins in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and release the brakes here, because I think that's what he said. I'd ask him to say again, but I don't have a way of doing that with GSX, so.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Alright, here we go. Nice. Alright, so we're underway here. We're going to keep an eye on this and make sure it does sequence from pre-flight to taxi. I think the engines have to be started for that to happen. Starting engine 1.
Okay.
It said not at idle. It was like ever so slightly full. So slightly forward. The detent is better in the real airplane than it is in the thrust master quadrants. And the vehicles are all just going to drive right into it, so I'm just going to look inside instead of acknowledging their presence. You just got to sometimes just drop the illusion because you're like, nope, it's not happening the way it's supposed to. It's fine. Alright, here we go. Engines are starting. And we left the gate early. 10 minutes ahead of my schedule because I gave us a full hour to depart the gate. But I knew I wanted to talk about Phoenix. I got a few other things I want to talk about as well, but Phoenix was the big thing really that's dropped. I will say this, the landing felt better too. I did a landing the other day and it feels better. It tends to be a little bit less floaty. I felt like it was... The Phoenix was very floaty. Alright. Starting engine 2.
Okay.
Set parking brakes.
Valve is open. Pushback is stopped. Brakes are set. Confirm the pins are moved. Alright, so we've got N2 rotation. We got oil pressure indicated. We should get fuel flow there. There's fuel flow. And we have what appears to be light off and N1 indication.
Unlocking gear.
Alright, starts looking pretty normal at this point. I just really want to check this thing out and just make sure it's working. Still says we're pre-flight.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
And I wouldn't even think about it if it hadn't failed last
Left
time.
is clear. Right is clear.
Alright. So a fail. Looks like the EGT is stabilizing there. Alright, you can revert to hand signals. Enjoy the rest of your day. There goes the guy. And here comes the guy with the pin. Yes, I see your pin there. Thank you. Thumbs up. I'm doing it over here where he can see it, but it's out of the camera view. Alright, bye-bye. Okay, so we got 2 good starts. After start checklist.
Anti-ice.
Off.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Pitch trim.
Set and checked.
Rudder trim.
Neutral.
After start checklist completed.
Flight control check.
Ready. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Alright, I'm going to taxi forward like 20 feet here and just see if it recognizes the fact that we're moving. Because I did a second flight afterwards to check the tracking and it tracked just fine. But it still says we're stuck.
Radar and predictive wind shear system.
Go away. Okay, why is it not tracking? This is what happened last time. Oh my god. Started the flight at the correct airport at the gate with your engines off in order for it to be tracked. We did that. So why is it not working? I was looking at this last time. Dashboard page, progress. So game mechanics. Leaving flight, aircraft licenses, flight tracking. So stage 1, pre-flight. Flights are connected, can affect location, departure airport. All engines off, stationary, ground speed is 0, on ground landing gear. Stage 2, taxi out. Minimum 1 engine running, ground speed bigger than 5. We gotta get ground speed bigger than 5 to get it to start recognizing our flight. So let's try this. And let's hope that this works. I need charts because I am not familiar with Milan at all. Malpensa ground, Scandinavian 1686, ready taxi. Alright, taxi Sierra, Kilo, and hold short of Kilo 2, Scandinavian 1686. Alright, so I'm assuming Sierra is what we're on right now. Let's just grab the other taxi chart really quickly here. Parking stands. Yes, Sierra is what we're on right now. Kilo and hold short of Kilo 2. So right turn to hold short of Kilo 2. So we got to get the ground speed above 5 knots for it to recognize that we're in taxi phase. Clear on the left. Clear left. Clear left side. Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
Alright, so there's 6 knots. Hey, we got taxi out phase. Alright, it's gonna work today.
Anti-ice.
Cancel checklist. Cancel checklist.
Roger.
Alright, so this is Yankee, I believe. Kilo is the outer one here, so it should be the next right turn here to hold short of Kilo 2. Alright, sign there says Kilo, so we're going to make a right turn here on Kilo. Brake check.
Pressure 0.
Taxi checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flap setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. Radar and predictive wind shear system.
On and auto.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff, no blue.
Taxi checklist completed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence the safety demonstration. Each aircraft may be different, so we'd appreciate your attention to the TV monitor closely.
Alright. I think I just have to turn them down a little bit because the VATSIM is so much louder than everything else. Okay, so we got to hold short of Kilo 2, so let me get my... Do I have my... Oop. Should have loaded this up ahead of time. Kilo 2 is the next one. I can see us taxiing there. Continue holding point Golf Whiskey via Whiskey and Tower, you said 2835 for Scandinavian 1686? Thank you, have a good day. Alright, there's 2835 up for Tower. Alright, so Whiskey appears to be the one off to the left here. Trying to do like many things at once here. It's not working out particularly well. Looks like the center controller went offline, so I don't have to worry about having a center controller frequency airborne. Well, that's too bad, but at least we've got... so Golf Whiskey should be up here on the left. This is Whiskey 8, and then Golf Whiskey is the next one. And you can see every time I like just even relax on the tiller, it veers left. It's just my tiller axis that's doing it. There's nothing else I can do about it right now. I need to do something. I need to either replace that pot, or just use something else as a tiller axis, which is a shame because I really love, for the year that I had a tiller axis, so wonderful. Made taxiing so much more realistic, but now it's actually making it harder to taxi nicely. It really takes a lot of effort to taxi in this straight line here. Okay. Are we ready? I think we're ready. Malpensa Tower, Scandinavian 1686, holding point Golf Whiskey ready. Three 5 left, clear for takeoff, Scandinavian 1686. Alright. Runway entry procedure. Clear left and clear right.
Takeoff runway confirm. Approach path clear of traffic. Cabin crew be seated for takeoff.
Lineup checklist.
Takeoff runway.
3-5 left confirmed.
Runway 3-5 left confirmed. TCAS.
TARA
Packs 1 and 2.
on.
Lineup checklist completed.
Alright, here we go. Takeoff.
Check.
Manflex 66 SRS runway auto thrust blue.
Checked. Thrust set. $100 knots.
Roger.
V1. Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up. Nav.
Gear up.
Autopilot 1. Over to Unicom, Scandinavian 1686. Good day. Climb. Alt blue. Thrust climb. Auto thrust.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
Flap 0.
Speed checked. Flaps 0.
Okay, not going to talk to him too much more, so we're going to talk while we're doing this. So we just passed the 1,800 foot restriction. We got to be above 3,000 for MC624 at a max speed of 220 knots for the turn. There's 3,000 feet right there. There go the flaps up all the way. Ooh. A little turbulent this morning, this afternoon. I did close that door, right? I did, yeah.
1,000 to go.
Alright, no further ATCs online. We're going to go 16,000 for now. So 220 knots around the corner here. And those mountains are the reason why we make this turn pretty quickly. Still max 220 knots and above 4,000 for MC632. Well, we've already reached the 4,000. We just got to keep the 220 knots around the corner. And then we're good. Definitely a little bit of an interesting, quick-paced departure here. There's transition level.
Standard cross checked. Passing flight level 0, 6, 7. Now,
That checks, and you gotta let me put in that 1013 on the standby too, buddy. Give me like 1 second to do it here. Alright, once we get there, 220 knots, that's the last speed restriction. Circuit above 6,000, we've already met that one, so we're doing quite well. Engine out, you'd have a hard time making this, but even a fully loaded 320 would not have a hard time meeting these restrictions. Although 320s are not known to climb once they get to high altitudes. Low altitude, they're not too bad. The narrow-body Airbus fleet is not known for its climb performance, especially in the higher altitudes. Man, this sim seems really quiet to me. Maybe I just have my volume turned way down, but it seems really quiet to me. Let me know if you guys think it's too loud in the background. I think I just have it turned way down, but compared to all the audio I was trying to deal with, it sounded like it was really loud. It sounds like it's really quiet compared to all that audio, which is good. Like I want the audio, not the audio, the like the speech to come in. All right, so we've passed the restriction. I'm going to go ahead and manage speed there. There's 10,000 climbing 16,000. There's the managed speed 317. It even has the realistic little hesitation bounce there that the 320 does. Like a lot of stuff in the 320 takes a couple seconds to happen. That's one thing that and Fenix seems to be doing a good job of capturing that now. Is that stuff takes a while to happen in the Fenix, in the real Airbus, and and things like that where like it goes to higher speed, then it thinks about it for a second and says, wait a second, no, I'm not sure, it goes back to 250, and then it comes back again to the higher speed. That is actually quite a realistic behavior. That's not glitchy. That's how the real airplane is. The real airplane doesn't do anything in a hurry. The computers always take a couple seconds to think about everything. Alright, so now we're into this big acceleration phase. I mean, the next altitude restriction was 9,500 up at Olper, and then we had to be 12.5 all the way down at Oscar, so that's looking pretty good. What do we have for cruise? 35, I believe it was. 36, actually, for our cruise. So I'm going to go ahead and put 36 up there. And away we go. I think we're underway. Of course, the real question is, does a pilot's light think we're underway? And it says, flight stage transition to from cruise. Hooray! It works today. Because this is about the point last time where I realized that it wasn't working, and I just got super ticked off at the whole thing because it hadn't been a great stream to begin with because I'm out of practice. I have not done this much lately. I have been I can't even think of the last time I finished a flight stream. It's been months anyways. This summer has for some reason just been absolutely insane, and work has not even been that insane, but it's just a combination of being on reserve, so you have a lot of days where you think you're working. You can take the belts off too. Put those belts on now, and put that on airport. Let's see here, we're gonna put that on airport. We're gonna come down here and we're just gonna do a couple things here. So RadNav is still auto-tuning the secondary. We're definitely airborne safely. We're gonna recopy that. We've got time to reprogram in an arrival again now. And again, the max at 37.6, cruising up at 36, optimal 35. So that's pretty reasonable. 37.6 for a max. I think we're going to be okay with that. Yeah, so that's all good. Let's make sure we've got guard up on number 2. And what we actually never did was we didn't switch to Unicom because I was too busy focused on flying the departure. That was my bad. But again, you're trying to do so many things by yourself here. Single pilot, like this is a lot of work to fly an Airbus single pilot. 22.8 is good. We got guard up there. The cabin is definitely pressurizing, and the fuel, we've burned just under a ton, 83.92. That all adds up pretty reasonably, so I'm going to say that's good. All right, we have already achieved our final altitude restriction of 12.5 at Oscar, and just for sake of interest here as well, looks like we got some airport traffic up there. I see something flashing up there in the distance. The other thing I'm going to do is pull this up and go XU out just to see the MSAs here as we climb, because there are, north of Oscar, there were some high MSAs. I think this is VFR, isn't it? Yeah, so let's go IFR low. And I should, hopefully, we should be able to see the MSAs here now. So as we turn northbound initially, it's 12 something here, and then 15.7 as we turn over the Alps. So ideally, I'd like to be passing Oscar. I'd love to be about 15 or 16. Oh, look, there we are, 15.9 right now. Perfect. So we've already achieved the highest obstacle altitude on our route, so our climb rate is no longer an issue. Let's just see here. Tap plus 15. All right. what am I trying to do here? So let's increase this range a little bit and see if I can spot anything out here. Nothing really. I'll turn off the airports for a minute here on the higher range. No, nothing's really visible out there. So one of the other features that got added into Fenix now in the latest iteration in the big update that just dropped was that weather radar is now integrated. So I saw this a little bit on a flight I did the other night, a few hits on the weather radar. So I'm just using default weather, MSFS weather today. I'm not using Active Sky today. I need to take some time to reconfigure Active Sky because I believe, as far as I've read now, Active Sky does now support remote connections. So you can run Active Sky on a computer that's not your SIM computer and let it feed data onto your SIM computer without the overhead. It just directly feeds the weather data, but the overhead of the downloading, processing, everything is on the other computer. So I would kind of like to do that. I have my laptop here right next to me. I'm monitoring the stream with it. I'm also monitoring the VATSIM radar with it. You know, it's funny because like the VATSIM radar still shows as having a radar controller on here, but there is not. So, oh, now it finally updated. Now it was a little bit lag there. Suddenly it decided it was going to update. I don't see any other ATC currently en route, but it is kind of afternoon, so hopefully we'll get something. Looks like there's Sweden control, but no control for Copenhagen, so we'll see. The day is young. We got 2 hours of flying here, and if we don't, we've got lots of stuff to talk to. Kind of flying through a cloud here. What's our TAT? Still plus 11. Still okay on the TAT right now. Don't need the engine anti-ice, so yeah, so I would like to do that. I'd like to offload Active Sky's processing from this computer over to the laptop so that, again, it's just less overhead. I will say this, I also noticed, I don't know if you noticed this during the takeoff run, because I know sometimes the video output is not as high quality. It's not, it gets little jumps and lags. So it's not as high quality as the, what am I trying to say here? As you know, as what I'm seeing on screen. What goes out on the stream is not necessarily quite as up as what I have here on Twitch or on my computer. But one thing I did notice is that the takeoff rolls are definitely smoother for Fenix. This was one area where Fenix, for whatever reason, really bogged down in the past. And I've got I've got a fantastic graphics card now. I've got a 3080, no, 4080. 3080? No, I bought a 4080. 4060. I can't remember what the heck I bought now. Anyways, I've got a fantastic graphics card in there. My CPU's a little bit older, but I always found that in the takeoff roll, that was where Fenix suddenly would chug along. The sim was running fine. The takeoff would be smooth out the window. But what you'd notice on the screens, on the PFD, on the MFD, is that all of a sudden it would get very chunky and choppy. Oh, shoot. All right, TCAS, I have control. Let's reduce our vertical rate here to VS plus 700. And there's the TCAS alert, and we're into the TCAS. And now we're clear of conflict. We can now return to our previously assigned altitude, which was 35. So let's get back into the climb there. We're going to go thrust climb, and we'll put the autopilot back on. Got thrust climb all blue. So there you go, little TCAS. It didn't say traffic. That was the weird thing. I saw it turn yellow, but I didn't actually hear the traffic call, which was weird. So good thing I was kind of looking at the screen at that moment. Wasn't busy distracted looking at something else. Little TCAS alert. Guess we're going to have to file some paperwork when we get home now for the company there. Oh well. Good practice. Yeah, I kind of didn't see. I kind of saw him coming from a long way away. I didn't realize we were on a direct intercept course there. I should have backed off the vertical rate as soon as I saw that, so not sure where he was going, but anyways, it's not important. The TCAS system worked the way it was supposed to without radar controllers. Anywho. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Before I got distracted here, and I know the scenery is really jumpy here. It's processing some nice looking scenery as we get closer over each area, but boy, It's actually not looking all that good. I'm pretty sure I've got all the European stuff dialed in now, all the European add-ons, because I actually had to do a hard drive purge last a couple of weeks ago. No, actually, it was I had to do a hard drive purge when I installed the Fenix update, because the Fenix update, because it did a lot of graphical overhauls. Basically, you had to re-download all the liveries. And when I started downloading all the liveries again, I actually ran out of hard drive space on my Flight Sim hard drive, because I've got so much stuff on there, and especially because I have put the what's it called? But I had put all the sorry, I'm doing something here, but I had put all my all the European world updates into the sim, and that added like another like 40 or 50 gigs to the sim that I kind of wasn't thinking about. So then when I reinstalled the Fenix liveries, and I probably added a few more that I hadn't had before that I was interested in, all of a sudden, boom, you don't have enough hard drive space. The Fenix livery updates all failed. So yeah, it is ridiculous how big this has got. Don't do that. I don't want to go to that yet. Yeah, so I'm just scanning my hard drive right now, but FS2020, it's scanning away. So I actually offloaded all of my airports onto a second drive just to free up space for FS2020 on my FS2020 drive. And my FS2020 drive is not small. It's a terabyte drive, and yet I have managed to fill it with FS2020. Once I took the airports out, that freed up like about 125 gigabytes with all the airports I have installed. So I've offloaded those to a secondary drive, but just having the aircraft and everything, it's counting right now. It's counting away right now, and it's not done yet. My community is done. There we go. It's done. Yeah, so here is my FS2020 drive, and yeah, this is the official that is, and I love WinDirStat. It's one of the simplest and yet most effective pieces of software. I've been using this thing for I don't know how long, 20 years probably. It's very simple for finding stuff. Different colors indicate different file types, but then anything you want to see, well, and get a visual sense of what's taking up my space. Well, look at this. This is my community drive. This is the official FS2020 packages folder. So that's everything official here. And then if I go in there, then of course you could break it down folder by folder. Each square basically represents each individual square represents a folder, and various things are grouped together as files. So the base scenery for FS2020 is there. It's 60 gigabytes. This is Germany, Austria, Switzerland points of interest. This is Eastern European points of interest. So like you can see visually what's taking up all your space. And yeah, all of these are Italy points of interest, Benelux points of interest, United States points of interest. All this scenery here, just taking up incredible amounts of space. It's not so much airports. There's one airport individually. There's ETK, but it's yeah, these European packages as a whole take up a lot of space. Here's an aircraft. There's the Hughes aircraft. It's 1.5 gigabytes by itself. But it's really interesting because it lets you see so well what's taking up your space. So after I installed all of these European scenery updates to allow me to fly through Europe with SAS, all of a sudden, boom, my hard drive was basically full. Fenix Sim A320. So what else? So this is my community this is my linker community folder. So this is everything that I've taken outside of the FS2020 folder, and there's everything I've taken outside of the FS2020 folder and moved into a separate one where I just link in. So this is a lot of liveries, some of the aircraft, things like that. So there's a fair amount of aircraft, a lot of liveries here, and this isn't even the Fenix liveries. If I go into the community folder here and find the Fenix 319 liveries, there's the 319 liveries, there's the 320 liveries, there's the 321 liveries. And I actually went through the second time when I realized the downloads were failing, and I downloaded less stuff. And then what's all this stuff in here? It's a really neat piece of software. Oh, this is the FSLTL library. That's the other thing that takes up a lot of space. The FSLTL library, if you're a VATSIM pilot, is pretty much a must, but boy, does it take up a lot of airspace. So this is the FSLTL library. It takes up more than any of these upgrade packages. And then I'm not sure what this red stuff is here. You can always find out. You can literally click on anything and see what file it is that's taking up all this space.
1,000 to go.
Thank you. Yeah, that's got to be part of my Steam library. Yeah, so that's my Steam library. I think I have GTA. No, what do I have installed on here? Red Dead Redemption. I have a few things, but Red Dead Redemption is one of the big things I have on here. But you can still see that, like, my FS2020 packages is 413 gigabytes plus the additional stuff I have in my separate community folder, 100 gigabytes. I have half a terabyte that doesn't include the airports. It's another 150 gigabytes. It's phenomenal. This square right here, this white square right here, is just the packages, official and community. This is my FS2020 folder. This is how much of my drive it occupies. It's a vast majority of the space on the drive. It's ridiculous. So, anywho, yeah. One thing I didn't think about, and I probably should have actually done, was terrain for departure. But look at this. Look down here now, everybody, because we have weather radar. There's Alt at 350. We have weather radar. That is stuff that's shown on the weather radar, 60, 70 miles ahead. Now, the one thing that this weather radar doesn't do is it doesn't tilt. So because of the way the weather radar API works in MSFS, it's just simply, it's a location, and there is some precipitation at this location, but it doesn't divide it up by altitude, so you can do a tilt scan, because in the real world you can tilt your weather radar down. If I can bring up the weather radar, it's this one here, I think. You gotta go back a little bit, but anyways. You can tilt the weather radar up and down, and we often do. There is auto tilts, but oftentimes we do it manually, and so when you're on the ground, you'll tilt it up fairly high up, because you want to scan above the ground. You don't want to be scanning the ground and getting reflections off the ground. But as you get closer and closer to cruise, 20, 35,000 feet, you eventually end up to where you want tilt close to zero, because you want to scan the airspace directly in front of you. It's not, the beam width, I think, is about 1.5 degrees. Display is about 1.5 degrees, so even at zero, at 35,000 feet, you're not going to have any of those beams hitting the ground for 150 miles, so you're not going to get reflections off the ground. You're only going to get reflections of rain. MSFS doesn't support that. MSFS just says somewhere at some altitude in front of you, there is this weather. So we can see it outside visually, and we can say, yeah, it looks like it's all behind us here, or all below us here, but we can actually see it. We can actually avoid it. We can see the yellow on the weather radar now. We can say we don't want to go that way, which is just going to be fantastic going forward. PMDG's had that for a little while. Fenix has now worked it in. So let's go ahead and go to a higher zoom level, and you can see there's a whole kind of schmutz of returns on the weather radar there, and then it's gone. I wonder if I wasn't really watching carefully. It doesn't really sweep though either, I don't think, is the other thing too. It all kind of moves as this stuff is moving along. No, it does sweep. There it is. Yeah, look at that. It does sweep. So wait a couple seconds, because if you got it on two different sides, two different ranges, it sweeps one side, then it sweeps the other side, then it comes back to this side, the other side. But look at that. It does sweep. Oh, it sweeps realistically too. So you know, if you're making a turn, it's not moving. It's not moving with the moving map as you turn. That is what you see for the weather radar is a snapshot of at the second that the weather radar went out in that direction. That's what it saw in that direction. If we turn the airplane, the weather radar doesn't turn its display. But oh yeah, just another fantastic improvement. Thank you, Fenix. It's a pity again that you can't tilt, but I think that's a limitation I can probably live with. At least this tells you there's something out there. You can look out the window and you can say, I can see from here that we're above all the cloud layers. I don't see any buildups any higher than that layer down below us, so ergo all that precipitation is down below us. We don't need to worry too much about avoiding it. So you combine that with a little bit of looking out the window, but how nice to have that weather radar actually on there now. Just what a thing of beauty. What a thing of beauty. I'm going to keep looking over here at our VATSIM radar as we go, just to make sure that we're not popping any ATC online unexpectedly as we go, but we are not. All right, so I'm just going to have a quick look down here as well and just say, what time are we showing? Arrival in Copenhagen 15:52, a little bit ahead of schedule. We should be there at almost on time. We should be pulling up to the gate at 16:05 according to the schedule. So it looks like we are running on time. We're gonna, if we touch down at that time, that should be plenty of time to taxi to the gate. It looks like things are working pretty well today. This thing should be definitely acknowledged that we are in cruise. And let's do a little update since we're looking here. It does say transition to from cruise. Anyways, 35,000 feet. Oh, this wanted 38,000 feet as cruise altitude. There we go, 35,000. Now it says we're cruising. Anyways, auto follow. It has drawn a trail. It is tracking us. Everything is looking good here for my pilot's life career. We are making progress. It's been a long time since I checked up on this. So if we go in here to the dashboard, this is going to be hilarious. The number of messages here. I have 70 messages in my inbox, most of which are just these event polls. I don't tend to worry too much about them. They're not my thing. New YouTube channel. They explore scenic approaches. Be very happy to see you there, chat with you guys during our live streams. That's great. I mean, and good for them for doing this stuff, doing this outreach. I love it. New email address. Please note the Simbit World email address is updated. Support. Have a nice day. Okay, so that's good to know. Saturday event poll. Support email issue. So they used to have simbitworld@gmail.com. They were looking for it, so I'm reading this in reverse order. So they were looking for another email service. It looks like they did get one. I have a friend request from David Corinne, so I'm gonna have to go accept that. Saturday event poll, and salary income credited. This was credited on May 19th. This was the last time I made money in a pilot's life. It was May 19th. I've been inactive for a lot this summer. It's August already. It's 2.5. That's the whole month of June, the whole month of July, and then part of May and August. So 2.5 months since I last made money in a pilot's life. It's crazy, but like it's just, you know, this is a hobby. It's there for fun. Often the real world gets in the way. It's unfortunate, but that is the way it happens sometimes. So, anyways, let's go into that community. Roman Dorian Reed 2. Are you bald? I am not. I think it's just the light catching my hair. It's just the light catching my hair. There is hair on here. It's just the brightness. In order to make sure I have a green screen behind me. Not yet. Thank you. Thank you. In order to catch the green screen behind me, I do have to have the lights fairly bright in here, which does tend to wash me out a little bit, unfortunately. So, but no, not bald. Not yet, anyways. Friend request. We will accept our friend request. It takes us up to 26 friends. So the setup is a, let's see here. I don't even remember what I have now. It's an Intel i7. I can't even remember which i7 now because I bought it I could 6 or 7 years ago. And then just last year, or this year actually, in January, I updated my video card to be a, I can't even remember now. I want to say it's a 4060. Upgrade from like a 1060 to a 4060, so it went way up. And I have a full flight deck setup in here, so I did buy the mini FCU and the mini EVIS, which were absolutely fantastic for immersion. So I now have a replica of these two panels on my desktop, which makes it very easy to interact with stuff and play with things just by reaching forward. It's so much more natural, and especially because it's very hard to do the push-pull interactions of the knobs in an Airbus using a mouse. I find that they're very awkward to try and use. I have to have little click spots and whatnot. I find it never works well. So the having the mini EVIS was just a game changer in terms of immersion. Now I've got most of the other stuff as well. I do have the Thrustmaster side stick, which is pretty good, except for the tiller axis is kind of shot because the Hall sensors are great, but I didn't know this, but the tiller axis is just a cheap potentiometer, so no wonder it failed after like a year. I do have the throttle quadrant, but the other thing that's also really great now, I have the side stick on my left side, so I have it simulating the captain side here. And the other thing I do have is I do have the WinWing MCDU for the 320. So it's been that was also just like, I won't say it was game changing, but it just made interacting and setting up the flights so much nicer, so much less sore wrist from clicking the mouse all day, moving the mouse around, clicking the mouse, like just having buttons It's not 100% realistic, but it does make the overall process feel much more immersive. So it's a pretty good setup I've got going on now. It's I gotta say, like, I'm very happy with it. The only thing that I'm yearning for at this point is a tiller, and more than anything, because the potentiometer is just shot in this thing. It's got so much noise on it that it makes it almost unusable. Taxiing is so terribly awkward, and I tend to, if I look away for a split second, the airplane goes veering off, and I don't realize it because of all the noise in the potentiometer. So at some point I might replace the potentiometer, or else I'll just have to run, or there are separate Airbus tillers that are available, and I might go out and get an Airbus tiller. Yeah, it's been, but otherwise I'm very happy with everything else. I do fly the 37 and the 777 from time to time, and I do actually also have over there on a shelf, I have a SciTech yoke, which is just cheap, but it does the job, and a Honeycomb Bravo client, a quadrant that I use when I'm flying anything that's not Airbus. But when I'm flying Airbus, I just take them off altogether. Let's see here. Just trying to actually pull this up on my device, and I can actually show you a quick look. Yeah, the PMDG. I fly the original 777. I think it was the 300, the big boy, and then the other thing I tend to fly is the 37 more. The 700, 800, 37s I tend to fly more. Than the 777. I find I don't have the time for 777 flights. They're so long. Stop clicking stupid random stuff here. All right, let's do this. Just trying to bring this up here. Should work. Nope, that did not work because I can't type, apparently. Try that. It's loading, I think. Slowly. Trying to. Or not. Maybe it's not loading at all. Try hit reload on that one more time. It's being very slow to load here. Seems to be... It's being very slow to load here, but hopefully it'll load up in a second. Yeah, I think the Fenix 320 is probably my favorite just because it has the... I think the best systems simulation. And the failures as well are fantastic. But I like the PMDG as well, and the one thing I'll say about PMDG is I think they have Fenix beaten on performance. Their airplane has pretty much the same level of depth, but it seems to work better from a performance perspective. Alright, I don't know why this is not loading, but it's not loading. Which is a pity because it used to work quite well. Used to be able to stream very well video onto the screen here from my phone, and it doesn't seem to want to work anymore, so I'm gonna let it be for a little bit here in hopes that it will. But yeah, it's been a much better setup now, especially since I got the video card upgraded. I still kind of want to re-upgrade the processor, but the big thing I would like to do is, wow, look at those winds. That's weird. Something went really wonky with those winds. Did you see? Look at that wind calculation. Look at that wind calculation. 700 knots for a second there. That's not right. I don't think Airbus actually recalculates the wind that often either. What is going on with that wind? Our ground speed's pretty good. Our true airspeed's pretty good here. Something is just... Something is wonky with that wind calculation. I don't know, it's just we were hitting a few air pockets, but I don't think Airbus updates the wind that often. It would be more like every like once or twice a second, not like that many values. So I think there's that way you would see a better average. Yeah, I think it's just because we're getting bounced around a little bit. The power's kind of all over the place here. The ground speed and the ground speed seems to be pretty constant here. Although it's weird. That's showing us with this massive tailwind. Something really wonky about that. Showing us with a massive tailwind. Now a headwind. Now see. I feel like it's my computer is causing a pause in the calculations, and then when it suddenly has to recalculate something, it's not happy with that when it gets back to it. So we won't worry too much about that. Yeah, we're not going to worry too much about that. I saw some of the new WinWing stuff. I mean, yeah, like I have to say, like, I think we're living in a golden age of flight simming right now. Like, now more than ever. This is just a hobby that anyone can get into, and pretty much there's almost any price point you want to spend at, you can outfit yourself. So if you've got just a couple $100 to spare, WinWing will get you a very basic flight deck pretty quickly and easily. And then you know, if money's no object, like you can build a full replica flight deck. There's parts out there on the internet and everything, especially with 3D printers and everything. You can build whatever level of simulator you want. If you just want something basic with a couple of things like an MCDU and a side stick and a thrust quadrant, great. If you want to go full on and have the whole Airbus flight deck in your basement or office or wherever, you can do it. And I think that's one thing that's going to make this hobby, I think, take off even a little more. Is WinWing's going to really help that from the hardware side. I think the one thing I'll say is it seems like they've got very ambitious. What's the word I'm looking for? Very ambitious plans. I'm hoping that they all come to fruition. I hate to be pessimistic, but I have seen before companies that have had ambitious plans to release a lot of products, and half of them make it to market, if even that. So I approach it with some cautious optimism. I've got myself a pretty good flight deck already, so I don't feel personally a need for their products. I see it as being good for the marketplace as a whole. But yeah, that's not something I need. But yeah, like I said, like we saw like what happened with Honeycomb and the sort of the implosion that happened at Honeycomb. Unfortunately, and they had lots of plans to release a lot of products. And the Alpha, the Bravo were fantastic products. I never got the Alpha, but from everything I read and based on my experience with the Bravo was a fantastic, well-engineered, well-designed product. Of course, then they had their own issues. The problem is that with any of this stuff, flight simulation is still very much a niche hobby, even though we've got like probably millions of people into it through Xbox. For the serious side of it, where you're actually picking up single-purpose hardware, that market is still incredibly small. So for any company to make a go of it and actually be a going concern manufacturing just that kind of product, it's a small market. It could be a tough go, and especially if you get into an era of recession. I don't want to talk about politics, but if you get into an era of tariffs where it's getting hard to import things into other countries and have a worldwide market for your product, because if you're trying to just sell into just one country, again, such a small market that one country is probably not going to cut it. You need to have access to multiple countries, most of the world, in order to be able to probably make back your investment on a lot of these products. I wish them good luck, and I hope WinWing does well. I really do, because I think, I've got the MCDU. That's the only product I have from WinWing. I gotta say, it's pretty darn good. It worked right out of the box with no issues. I've had one issue on it to date. Actually, yesterday I had my first issue with it, and I had my first issue with it. I mean, but like buying it was a little bit of an issue, and it wasn't an issue. It was just simply I bought it from my local store. I didn't buy it from the worldwide shipping website. I bought it from WinWing's store in my country, and they didn't have it in stock for a long time. I pre-ordered it in January. It didn't arrive until May or June. It arrived in stock. I will say this, and they were kind of, the updates were pretty sporadic initially. They gave a basic. I don't know if they even gave a basic target date. I think they did give a basic target date that they kind of met, I think, within about 3 or 4 weeks. I will say this, when they did get it in stock, when I did get the notification that it was in stock, and I went and put through the actual order and paid for the order. So the pre-order you don't have to pay for. It's just simply like an expression of interest. When you actually get the email and actually pay for the order, the thing was shipped and in my hands in like 72 hours. So that was great. Like, that process was great. The other thing that was great too is that it was, the price on the WinWing website was all-inclusive, which is pretty rare. I don't live in Europe. I live in North America, and any taxes you ever pay, sales tax and everything, are always not included on a list price. But I guess WinWing being a global organization, that's how they normally do stuff. So their price actually, because I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, it was like $192 or something like that. And then I was like, okay, so how much is shipping going to be? How much? And then tax on top of that. So I was ready to pay tax on top of that and a shipping cost on top of that. Let me turn the volume down, and then we put it in cinematic mode for a little bit just for fun. Turn the volume down even a little bit more. But yeah, and then I just got the bill. And it's $192. That was it. That included the shipping. That included all the taxes, which was weird but great. So like, I feel like that was actually a really, really good deal. I feel like it was very well worth it. It's a good size. The instructions in the box were very good. I had it assembled. It comes with its own stand. You can put it together in multiple ways. You can put it up where it's like nearly vertical. You can put it down where it's almost flat. It comes with this kind of triangular stand, so you can kind of put them together in multiple ways. You can connect it you can connect it to your desk. You can connect it to the front edge of your desk if you want to. I ended up I have a small IKEA table that my throttle quadrant has been sitting on for a year or two since I got the throttle quadrant. So I have permanently affixed. It comes with some stickers as well. You can permanently affix it. So I've permanently affixed this MCDU to that top of that table. I just slide it out underneath my desk when I don't need it. So very effective, a very effective product. Very effective product, very user-friendly. Like I said, I had my first issue with it yesterday, and that was that the screen froze. And it's funny because the buttons on the MCDU still worked. When I was interacting with the MCDU, if you were looking in the sim, the buttons were still having the correct effect. It was just for some reason the screen was frozen at that one point in time and would not catch up. And I ended up unplugging it, plugging back in. Even that did not seem to do it. So, of course, now my screen seems to be freezing here too. I don't know what's running that's making this freeze, but it keeps on having little hesitations here. Yeah, so it actually froze, and then finally after a few minutes it finally kind of unfroze itself. So something was going on with that. It was very weird because other than that, it's been fantastic. I've had no glitches with it. It worked with Fenix right out of the box. Like I said, plug and play and go. Just run their software and boom. And that was it. It was great after that. So I was a little worried when it stopped working the one time, but then today it's been working fine. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, it's got a nice feel to it. It's a good size. The screen is very bright. The buttons. The only thing is the buttons are fine, but they're not realistic. On the real aircraft, the buttons are a very hard plastic. On this thing, they're a rubber button. I think that is the only way that they can probably produce this item for this cost, is to have a rubber membrane, because I'm pretty sure it's one printed rubber membrane for all the buttons with individual little sensors below it. They're not all separate, little pieces of plastic that are in there. It's one rubber membrane underneath the top coating. So I get that, and I have to say I believe that probably is that's how they can make this product so cost at such a low price point that it's affordable for everybody. But other than that, I've got to say, it's a fantastic product. It looks good. It feels pretty good overall. There's no lag or anything. It interacts in real time with the airplane, and it, like I said, at least with Fenix, compatible right out of the box. It's great. If you're asking what's on my earphones here, this thing over here, this thing over here, that is my track IR sensor, so that I can look around the flight deck. Okay, what am I trying to do here? Go away, cinematics. There we go. So now, if I unpause it, I can turn my head and look around the flight deck, which is just a very nice way to interact with the flight deck. It does, again, all these little things add to your sim and slowly reduce the performance of your sim, but the level of interactivity that track IR adds to your flying is just amazing. You just take a little glance with your head, just a little bit. It exaggerates any turn you make. So I turn my head like maybe 5 degrees, 10 degrees to the left. It goes that far. If I turn my head about 25, 30 degrees to the left, it's pretty much almost a full left turn to look out the left window, and same up and down. So you can look around the flight deck very easily. You can look out the window very easily, and it makes for a very immersive experience. Like I couldn't imagine trying to fly the sim without track IR anymore. I'm so used to it. And just it adds such a level. I don't use it all the time, and especially with Chase Plane. Before Chase Plane came along, I have to say, like, the camera system in MSFS sucked. It did. You're limited to 10 cameras in any airplane. Trying to navigate them was not great. Trying to move them around was not great. Chase Plane has just changed the way I use this sim. So now it's super easy to go and look at the overhead panel without even looking. I know my buttons on my side stick here. The radio panel. Central displays, the left displays, the right displays. I can look at all these things so quickly that track IR almost has become redundant, but there's something nice also about just the way you kind of look, especially when you're trying to look out the window and look at something, taxiing and whatnot, and trying to look left and right. It's so much easier to do this with your head than trying to do it with a button. So track IR to me has become an indispensable accessory for MSFS. It really has. It for any flight simming, even before that, I had it in P3D, and it just, the way you can just sort of turn your head and look out the window, even sit up and look a little over the top of the window and see what's right below you. It makes it so much easier to interact with the flight deck, but also to really feel like you're inside an airplane. You're not just looking at a screen, a projection of what's ahead of you. So it's huge for me, especially. I find the time that I notice the most when it stops working, because the track IR is not always reliable in MSFS and Chase Plane. It does sometimes hang up and stop working. And the time that I notice it, the time that I really notice that it stops working, is when I'm on approach. Because I'm doing these little subtle head movements, nothing big, but just sort of taking glances side to side and looking down quickly. I'm making these head movements. They're small and they're subtle, and I don't even realize I'm doing them, but they add to the overall perspective of where I am, of how high above the runway I am, and that sort of thing, and being able to fly the airplane, especially when you're trying to make a turn onto final. Not so much with the bus where you're flying, flying the FMS the whole time, but especially if I'm flying the lighter airplanes at MSFS, if I'm flying GA airplanes, or even the jets, the citation longitude, and all those kind of jets. You're trying to turn final, and the runway's right behind the window post. There's nothing you can do, or the runway's right beside you. There's nothing you can do to see it, really. You just have to wait till it strolls past the window post. But with track IR, I could just simply slide to the side and look around the window post if I have to spot the runway over there behind the window post. So, yeah, track IR is just it's a heavenly tool for a simmer. It really is. All right, according to this, we're halfway there now. 15:57 is our ETA. Clock correct? Clock's correct. Yep, 15:57. We're just a little less than halfway there. Not sure if I totally believe it. Still get a pretty strong headwind here. But the thing that is, the other thing that I find, what am I trying to say here? I'll lose my train of thought here quickly. Yeah, so I'm just looking at, not the dashboard here, sorry, at our flight today. Going back to this here. We are basically about halfway there. Yeah, it doesn't look like I've done half the distance. It looks like we still got a lot of distance to go. It says 439 miles. Maybe it's just distortion from you know, the map scale. 439 miles to go. I'm just wondering if the winds are realistic too. Like the winds I'm a little bit suspicious of here. What's the flight plan have us planned at? It was a good solid minus wind on there. Average 335 at 52. Yeah, okay. There's my wind forecast here. Right here after the flight plan. Here we go. So chemis, here we are. 344 at 87. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. As we go north, it does look like the winds, well, they should stay at about 85 knots. Yeah. The average wind component for this whole flight was minus 41. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit suspicious of these calculations. It just seems like, just looking at the map, it seems like we've used up an hour of our 2-hour flight, but we're definitely not at the halfway mark. Unless our climb was really slow, it looks like we got a lot more than half to go, doesn't it? It looks like we're only about a third of the way there. So, anyways, we'll carrying on. Right now it's showing the FMC is predicting a landing time of 50. I keep looking down at my WinWing FMC MCDU here, but showing a landing time of 15:57. That is just over 1 hour from now. So it doesn't quite seem right. It seems like we're a little bit behind, but the other thing you can do is just do a fuel check here. We got 6.3 in the tanks, passing chemis. What are we supposed to have here on the flight planners? There's some degree of inaccuracy to this, but chemis, we should have, expected fuel on board 6 tons. Yeah, no, we're at about the right ballpark. Okay, yeah, it seems like we've been total time so far should have been 50 minutes. So I didn't actually note the takeoff time, but it does, yeah, okay. It seems somewhat reasonable. Total airtime is going to be $1:51. Yeah, it doesn't quite add up. It doesn't quite seem right, but maybe it's right. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it here. There is some lag on the VATSIM radar as well, a minute or so lag, so maybe that's it. Anyways, I didn't even finish going through a pilot's life here. I got distracted by something else. I think you were asking questions about other stuff, but going back to the pilot's life here, just to look at what we're doing here. The schedule that's coming up for the next couple flights after we do this one to Copenhagen. We're going from Copenhagen to London Heathrow and back to Copenhagen. That's still 2-hour flights each way. I was going to say they'll seem pretty short. We should be able to do them in a turn, but no, that'd be a long stream. Maybe if I'm feeling really ambitious and I want to do a long stream, I might do that back to back. But that does seem doesn't seem like I can necessarily finish that in a day, because that's 2 hours each way, 2 hours and 10 minutes each one way, 1 hour 50 the other. That'd be a 5 to 6 hour stream by the time you include prep time and everything else. But anyways, next is going to be London Heathrow. After that, we go over to Munich from Copenhagen, then from Munich back up to Oslo, back to London Heathrow again from Oslo and over to Copenhagen again, and then down to Rome, Leonardo da Vinci, Fiumicino, and back to Oslo to end the season. So it's interesting. Anyways, we got a couple things in there. Definitely some variety. We got London Heathrow in there twice, but this was one of the things actually that I wanted to talk about too. So this kind of leads me into the other thing that released that I was really interested in. So the Fenix update was super cool, and I'm happy with it. It seems to have definitely fixed some stuff. There's some stuff that's still missing. The one thing that's still missing that bugs me, really bugs me, is that we don't have a standby altimeter with inches of mercury, which is silly. It's a small thing, but it's an important thing, because in North America, you only fly on inches of mercury. Nobody flies on QNH in North America. So why do we have this the standby analog standby altimeter that is only available in QNH? It's exactly the same. It looks exactly the same, except instead of having 1013 down here, it has 2992. Otherwise, it looks exactly the same. And I made that suggestion. They said we don't have any documentation on it. I even sent Fenix the documentation for it, because the documentation is literally one page. It's just a picture of it. It says adjust the altimeter here. Like, it's exactly the same. There's no difference from this analog altimeter other than the units, but they still haven't included that. That's the one thing that bugs me, and that's the one shortcoming still on Fenix, is that they still haven't done that, because there are thousands of Airbuses flying around North America, and a lot of them should have the standby altimeter in American units. Not a big fan of the American units per se, but that's what they are. But the other big piece of news that came out recently, and that I was pretty excited about, was this Fly the Line software. So let's bring that up here. And I was very curious about that. It seemed like a kind of a very pilot's life style product page. Here it is. Not going to watch videos because I don't want to get dinged for copyright infringement. So, but yeah, Just Flight released this like I think 2 weeks ago, and I am on the fence about it now. Now that I found out more about it, at the beginning it sounded interesting, sounded like a kind of a neat idea. The details were very kind of slim in the original first couple of posts about this product. Now that it's been released, I've been able to watch some videos and read some more about it, and I think I understand more about what the software is about. So it's kind of in the same vein as a pilot's life. You are an airline pilot working at various companies trying to make a living. The difference is kind of the time scale that you work on here in Fly the Line. So in Fly the Line, you're literally simulating a day. Not just a flight per se, but you're actually simulating a day, and that's where things get a little bit more interesting. So you'll get assigned a schedule to fly, and right now it's a short haul edition, so it's just short haul flights. It's a couple of hours in generally narrow body type aircraft, maybe regional jets, that kind of thing. But the other thing that then happens is that you also have to deal with your time after work. So the flights are flown real time per the schedule. So the sim is set up to fly at the time of day that the flight is scheduled for. So if the flight is scheduled to depart at 7 p.m., then even if you log on at noon, when you log into the sim and then fire this up, it's going to change the time to be 7 p.m. and you're going to have to fly it at 7 p.m. day or night or whatever time it is. You're going to have to fly it at that time in realistic time, and it's going to remember your progress. So whatever time you do actually arrive at the destination, it's going to track that, and you're going to do multiple flights in a day. The one thing that I'm not a big fan of with this software right now is it's kind of out and back nature, and that diagram right there kind of shows you exactly what it is. It's all out and back. So you just go to the destination and you come back to your hub, and go out from the hub again and come back from the hub again, and that's your thing. So every day you finish your day at home base. You do 2 flights or 4 flights. It's either 2 or 4 flights. You always end up back at home base at the end of the day, and then at the end of the day you drive home and you have other activities, which is really kind of neat. So I don't know if this really shows it here, but you actually have to pick what you're going to do with the time that you're not flying. I don't think it really shows it in here. It doesn't really, but you'll have downtime. And so, like, what happens after your flight? So you'll get a schedule for whatever day. This is your life, literally day by day. This is your life, and you don't have to fly the flights on the same actual real world day. You can fly them on multiple days, but the timing is tracked, and so it's like you're back on day 10, and so you do the first 2 flights, and then you go to bed, and the next day you wake up and you go to work, and you don't get back in this for 3 days. But when you come back to it, you're now going to do 3 and 4 on schedule on day 10. And then you're going to have downtime, and you plan before your day ends what you're going to do with your downtime. You're going to exercise, you're going to eat, you're going to sleep, how long you're going to do each activity. It's kind of blocked. Your day is blocked off in a different period of time, and your health and your well-being, are determined by the things by your schedules and by the things you purchase with your money for your house. So there is actually, you have a little virtual house, a little apartment that you can have stuff. So you can buy a car if you want to make sure that you make it to work on time. If you don't make it to work on time, then you start late. So if I can go back, I thought I saw a picture of it here. Anyways, maybe there's other screenshots of it. Anyways, maybe there's more screenshots here. I'm just trying to find screenshots. That's all I'm trying to find here. That's the same screenshots, I think. No, it's not all the same screenshots. But there's actually your apartment. So you actually pick what you buy for your apartment. If you buy a car, you're more likely to make it to work on time, which means your prep time is compressed, because once you click go on the prep time, you have X number of minutes to be on schedule for departure. If you depart late, it hurts your score, and then you'll arrive late and you'll have less time to turn around. So like all these things are kind of realistically simulated. So there's some really neat aspects to it. The thing I don't like about it, and again, it's just me, is this thing right here, is it's just basically out and back. You're always finishing your flights at home base, which is, and you can only have one home base. You pick a hub, you pick an airline, you pick a hub, and that's your home base. And there are some other neat features about this. You can actually have it specifically only offer flights to airports you have scenery for. So it'll detect what scenery you have in your sim, and it'll show you different colored dots for airports you have scenery for. And you can say, exclude anything I don't have custom scenery for. Or you can just individually click and say, I don't want to go to this airport or this airport. So you can have some nicer control of your schedule that way. That's great. But this out and back model, I think it's going to lead to a lot of not boredom, but it'll get repetitive very quickly, because every second landing you're going to be doing is back at home base. So the first and third landings of the day are going to be at outstations. It's going to be somewhere you haven't been before. But then the second landing and the fourth landing of the day, it's always back at home base. So that's one thing that I think a pilot's life does better, is their schedule generation. It doesn't always, but it can generate more interest. So here's my schedule for pilot's life. It's not just out and back. Yes, I am hitting the hub airports more often, but as long as I have an airline that has multiple hubs, I can bounce back and forth to different hubs. So we started out in Stockholm. We went down to Milan back to Copenhagen. Then we're going to do a London turn out of Copenhagen, then down to Munich, and back up to Oslo instead of Copenhagen. Like, it's different places, which is kind of nice. Sorry, that's Copenhagen, that's Oslo, my bad. But anyways, point is, like, if you can have an airline with multiple hubs, you're not always landing at the same airport every second leg. And that's what I like about a pilot's life, is just the schedule generation it's pretty good. You will hit your hub airports repeatedly, but as long as you're on an airline that has more than one hub, and I specifically went out of my way to pick one, you're going to have some interest. You're not going to just be every second flight is going to be going back to Copenhagen. No, you're going to be sometimes Copenhagen, sometimes every second flight might be, and then it doesn't even have to be every second flight. It can fly triangles. It can go, if the airline might support it, it might be, hey, you might go from Oslo down to Paris, Paris down to Nice, and then back up to Oslo or whatever. It can do little triangles like that too. So I like the schedule generation. I think the schedule generation in Fly the Line leaves a little bit to be desired. I think there's a lot of concepts that are really neat about it, and I haven't decided if I'm going to buy it. I probably will buy it and do some streaming on it just for the fun of it, just to show you guys what it's like and be a little bit different from a pilot's life. But I feel like this schedule generation, where it's just an out and back schedule, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to get, there are some really neat features of it. So that idea that you can specifically choose which airports you want to be included in a schedule or not, it still picks a schedule for you randomly, but you can say exclude these airports. Never want to go to these airports. These airports suck, or I don't have good scenery, whatever. I don't want to go to those airports. You can do that. It gives you that option. That gives you that granular control. You get more granular control over the picking of the route lengths. You can say minimum, maximum leg lengths instead of, that's one thing that is a shortcoming in a pilot's life, is it's either short, medium, or long haul, and that's it. But with Fly the Line, you can actually, there's sliders, and you can set the length of the flight. You can set it as little as, like, I think 5 or 10 minutes, maximum of like 5 or 6 hours, and you can slide them. So you can say, I only want to do flights between 2 and 3 hours, or 1.5 to 3 hours, or something like that. Give you a little bit more flexibility in what you choose. But the out and back structure, I feel like it's going to get very repetitive. So I'm not too keen on the out and back structure. But yeah, there's, like I said, the concept of, like, also having to manage your time off, and you have to manage your health. If your health deteriorates too much, you're going to get your license pulled. You're going to have to go, I think, for medical every 10 days. Obviously once a year for real world, but to try and keep it a challenge, you have to keep your health in between your medicals reasonable. If you don't get enough sleep, if you don't eat well, if you don't exercise regularly, maybe don't get enough relaxation, whatever. It's kind of a little bit like The Sims as a pilot. You've got to manage all your different levels and keep them reasonable so that you're healthy, or else you might get your license pulled and not be able to fly anymore until you make yourself healthy. So there's some really neat concepts here. I like that real time. I like that penalizing you for what you have. You don't have a car, you might get to work late, you got to get ready faster. Can you do it faster, or are you going to depart late and arrive late? Because then the turn's going to be late. It's going to affect your next flight. I only have Instead of having 45 minutes turnaround, I only have 35 minutes turnaround to the next flight. So I'd like some of those carry-on progression things. And there's different skill progressions. You can actually buy better products for your home, things like that, to improve your rest and everything else like that. So it's a bit like The Sims in a way. It's a little bit of The Sims kind of digging into the pilot career, where your different levels are affected by the quality of the things you own and things like that. So you get a chance to spend this money. I just think the schedule generation sounds like a bit of a bit of a simplistic, and perhaps, like I said, it's going to lead to a very repetitive feeling very, very quickly. But yeah, there are some interesting aspects to it. I think I might pick it up and try it on stream a couple times, because I think there are some interesting aspects to it. But I think there are other parts that are going to be very, like I said, that scheduling is going to get very repetitive very quick. I think I love a pilot's life more than anything for the schedule generation. I think it's the best schedule generator out there for trying to get a reasonably realistic and yet varied pilot career out there. Okay. What did we just pass? ETP 1600. Our time is kind of drifting backwards a little bit here. Yeah. Okay. We're about halfway. Yeah. No. Okay. That's about right. Yep. Now that we're actually passing over our ETP, I say, yeah, we are about halfway on my map over there on the other screen. So, okay. Seems pretty realistic. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think, too. But I definitely think, like, there are some aspects of this that might be interesting. I'm very curious about it. I feel like the schedule's going to get boring very quickly. I feel like I'm going to get really bored with that schedule really fast, just being out and back all the time. But are the other things going to make up for it? And this is just a brand new piece of software that's just released. They are definitely. I went to their forum, and they definitely are active on their forum. I assume they're active through Discord as well, and they're listening to feedback now that it's actually been released to public. People have suggestions on different ways to run things. There's some neat customization you can do. Like, you can pick your own picture. You can upload your own picture to your ID on here. I think it was on the other page, but you saw your photo ID, so you customize your airline, customize your name, your photo ID, and all that stuff. You can even, and it does support virtual airlines as well. Like, you don't have to choose a real world airline. You can pick any airline you want. If there is a real world airline, it'll default to that. But if you want to do Canadian Express, you can upload a logo. You can put the name Canadian Express on your pass, and you work for Canadian Express. Tell the program where the hub is, and give it some details, and it will create a virtual airline. So it'll work for virtual airlines as well as real world airlines. So that's a neat aspect. Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff to it. Apparently, it does do emergencies as well. It does do in-flight diversions, like for medical reasons, things like that. You might, while you're flying along, you might get a message and say we need to divert because of a medical issue on board. So there is some kind of interactivity and some challenges with that. So your flight may not always end up at the destination. So it's, yeah, again, I'm gonna have a hard time giving up on a pilot's life, because that schedule generation, it's the best formula I've seen so far for schedule generation. There are some things that are better, and the sliders. I wish a pilot's life would copy that idea of the sliders, of like, let's filter the flights based on not just an arbitrary short haul, medium, long haul, because that's one of my biggest failings with a pilot's life, is that the short haul is sometimes too short, but the medium haul, the upper bound on the medium haul is too high. I think the upper bound on the medium haul is 2,000 miles. And as a streamer, 2,000 miles is a long flight. That's a 4 to 5 hour flight. That's a long time, 5 to 6 hour stream. That's a long time to stream for. So I don't want to be there. But the short haul cutoff is like 500 or 600 miles, which is like an hour and a half. So like, I often generate the schedules using short and medium haul flights, and then simply reject any schedule that's got a 2,000 mile flight on it. I go down to, I set a personal max of like 12 to 1,400. I might do a 1,400 if it's really interesting, but anything much over 12, I question, because they're going to be long flights that way. It's going to be a long stream. Sometimes that's good, but most of the time I start to run out of energy, and my voice starts to run out after about 3 hours. So I don't want to be doing too many of those long hauls. So that's one of the few shortcomings of the pilot's life that Fly the Line actually does do better. One other thing that it actually does well is that it does allow you to have multiple profiles within the software. So you have to also import your airplanes into the software, so you have to define which airplanes you have in your sim, which ones it's allowed to assign you for flying. So you define what you have in the sim, what you want to fly, 37-700, 37-800, CRJ, 800, 900, that whatever. You can define, I think, 16 different aircraft type or something you can have in there, but it also allows you to have 8 different profiles, 8 different user profiles, so you can create multiple different careers. So you could, for example, for me, I could create one career that I just simply only do on stream. And so you would see all of it on stream, much like I've done with a pilot's life, where every leg I've ever done in a pilot's life was on stream. But then you can have a second one where you just do it randomly, not on stream. So I have a second career that's going a little faster because I don't wait every time until I have an opportunity to stream, and it goes a little faster. So that's actually a really good improvement, something that I wish a pilot's life would do. A pilot's life ties your career to your, to your license, to your email address and your license. So you're only allowed to have one pilot's life career. And I get that kind of in a way because they also do have, of course, their community stats. If you were to allow people to have multiple entries in the community page, then that might not be, it might not be totally reflective. It might not be totally fair, I guess, if you will, if people can have multiple names on the leaderboard. So I get that, but maybe they could find a way to bypass that and say, well, we'll have one. Your first primary account will be on the leaderboard, and the rest of them you can just have fun with. Because I would like to have a second pilot's life career and get a sets of schedule assigned just for the fun of it, just to do here randomly here and there without waiting for them on live stream. Because I love the fact that this career, and it's been a long career now, between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I have done 140 flights. 353 flight hours, all of which have been live streamed on Twitch. I like that, and I want to continue with that. I don't want to let that kind of tradition die. But I would love to have a secondary career in a pilot's life where I just kind of have a little bit of fun on the side, do some other stuff that I don't normally do. That's one thing that I think is missing for pilot's life. That Fly the Line saw that and said, "Hey, that's something we see as a point for improvement, as a feature we can offer that they don't offer." So. I probably will end up buying it and trying it out for a little while because I think there are some neat stuff. There are some neat elements to it, but I don't think it's something that, again, I think I'm going to get bored. I think I'm going to get bored with it because of the repetitiveness of the schedule before too long. But maybe that'll scratch my itch for the days when I don't want to stream, but I do want like some kind of career progression. I do want to see something happen in there. Anyways, we're kind of getting there now. We got about 45 minutes to go here. So first I'm going to look at the VATSIM radar and say, hey, look, we did get Denmark control. We do have an ATIS for Copenhagen. Ah, excellent. So this is going to be good here. We are going to do some stuff. I'm not going to do it on this one. I'm going to do it on the secondary here. We're going to go ATSU, AOC menu, and ATIS. Let's get an arrival ATIS for Copenhagen. Awesome. I love it. Alright, receive messages. Yes, we did get one from SAS Ops. No ATC required. We left early, so there was no delay coding required. ATIS! Invalid ATIS message. Boo! Okay, fine. Am I within range yet? Oh, I am within range. Arrival ATIS. Okay. We'll just get it the old-fashioned way here. Arrival information Alpha 1450 Zulu. Expect the ILS approach runway and use for landing 22 left. Expect Charlie stars. Visual approach on request. Transition level 6500. 230 at 8. Visibility is unlimited. No conditions. 21 and 14. 10, 11. So I'm going to set that right now and then go back to standard, but at least it's set in the background. Stated aircraft type. Copenhagen arrival info Alpha advisory information Alpha. Okay, so that's this is information Alpha. Alright, so it is 22 left. So it is the ILS 22 left. It is the Charlie transitions. I forget what we programmed in here. Let's have a look at this here. I keep on forgetting to jack that audio after I come back to flight deck. The Charlie transition, Monarch for Charlie. So that looks good. So let's pull up some charts here and let's start looking through this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go to EKCH and pull up an ILS for 22 left. Alright. And so we're the Monac 3 Charlie arrival for Monac here. There we are. Alright, so let's have a quick look at this. So I'm going to do this. Actually, I might do it this way just to make it a little bit more zoomed in so you guys can hopefully follow along pretty well here as I do this. Oops. Alright, so we're going to go to plan mode here. We're going to make sure that everything in here matches the chart. Just enough that I can see the FMGS and I can use the MCDU from below. So we have to fast forward till we get to Monac. There's a lot of fixes here still. I think Monac, there it is. Alright, so there is Monac. Monac 4 Charlie. Track miles to threshold me to on the last digit of the alphanumeric waypoint. Track 237 at first contact with open approach, state type of aircraft. State only call sign. Alright. So let's just make sure that this all matches what we've got in the FMGS here. So it's this one here. So we got Monac, uplib, Nexo, and that's a max 250 knots at Nexo, which doesn't appear to be in my FMGS here. Oh, and it did it again. My WinWing froze. Crud. Eventually it sorted itself out, so I'm going to just see if I can... it is in there. 250 knots. Oh, because I don't have constraint. There it is. There it is. Okay. Next, so 250 knots. And see, the buttons are working. I can use the buttons. I'm not sure if this is a WinWing or a Fenix problem. I have to figure it out eventually, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. CH643 is below 9,000. CH636, CH630, CH625, and then Adobe is at 220 knots below 4,000. That is all good there. And that's where we transition to the ILS. So we're going to transition to the ILS there. There is a transition from Adobe at max 220 above 3,000. We're not going to worry about that just yet. XTAR max 220 knots above 3,000. And CH2LF, 2,000 feet. That all looks good. Missed approach is climb straight ahead 500 feet. Or 1 DME. Whichever's later. Turn left and track 183 climbing to 3,000 form ATC. Alright, there is a lost column procedure there as well. Alright, so that's okay. Yeah, this is weird. Fenix has not done this before. WinWing has not done this before. And I wonder if it's this update. Something in this update. Alright, so here is the airport chart. We're going to land on 22 left. It'd be a convenient right turn. We might make Bravo 4. It's a 10,000 foot runway. There's a good chance we're going to make Bravo 4 or probably Bravo back towards the apron. If we miss that, take Bravo 3. And let's get parking positions as well, just to make sure we know where the parking stands are. I think the last time this flight flew was Bravo 6 or Bravo 9 or something like that. So somewhere on this Bravo concourse anyways. We'll see what we get. So we come across on Bravo. It's a left turn over there. We'll see what we get. But it does look like everything is in there that's required. And the RADNAV page, it is OXS 1095 and 217. The final approach course 216 is very reasonable. Very good. All right. Let's just go through the rest of this here. So Prague page 36. Yeah, EKCH 227 miles to go. That's looking good. Perf for the descent. Why is it not, aren't we cruise phase? Did it never trigger cruise phase? What are we supposed to be at for cruise phase? 36. Why do we level at 35? All this time I never even noticed we never leveled at 36. Interesting. All this time and I never even noticed that we leveled at 36. I should be reading the FMA. I'm sitting here talking away too much. Alright, for the descent I don't like going that fast. We're going to do 78320. That'll keep us a margin below the red line. And then, again, we'll go to our V-pilot for this here. So it's 1011, 21 degrees. The winds are... .230 at 8. So 1011, 21 degrees. Nice day. And 230 at 8. 230 at 8. Alright, and the ILS minimums from the chart. ILS 208. Perfect. And we'll just put the missed approach altitude of 3,000 here for acceleration. Alright, fuel prediction shows us tons of extra fuel when we get there. We won't max landing weight, but we got 2 tons of extra fuel, so we got an hour of extra fuel to play with in case the weather does go down as we get there. And what I'll do with the secondary is just recopy the active. They're not advertising any other arrival runways right now, so we'll just recopy that and let it go. And I don't know how to reset my WinWing MCDU here. The only thing I can think of is if I try unloading and reloading the software, because the buttons are working. There is an update pending, and I keep on forgetting to update it before I fly. Okay, so shut it down and restart the WinWing software and see if that reconnects it, because eventually it did start working again. It was weird. I don't know what did it. I don't know why it stopped working, but eventually it started working again. I did unplug it. I did reset the app. I'm not sure what of these things necessarily made it work, so we're not going to update it right now. Alright, so it's loading. Just trying to get an operating stream going here. Seems to be having problems starting, so maybe it's the software. So maybe I should run that software update when I get a chance. It's one of those things where I don't think about starting it until I started the sim, and then it wants to run an update. Okay, it does seem like it's online, but it does seem like the screen is still stuck in the same place. Nope, it started working again. I pressed a different button. It was just in the... I was looking at the same screen, so... Alright, it seems like it's working again. Okay, good. Yeah, that... I wonder if that has something to do with the big Fenix update, because that was never a problem before, but it seems to be getting to be a problem now. That's the second flight in a row where that's happened, so I don't know what's going on there. Restarting the software seems to work. There is a software update pending, so I'll run the software update after the stream and see if that fixes it. That's funny. I was talking to a guy that I was controlling the other day, and he's like, yeah, I was having problems with my sim, and I'm like, if I had $1 for every time I've had a tech problem-free flight on Flight Simulator, I'd probably have $1. There's always something going wrong, and part of it is I probably do overstretch. There is so much software running on my computer to run this sim. I've got I can't even begin to think. So just thinking what I've got running on this computer right now just to run this sim with this stream. So you have the simulator running, which also runs Fenix externally, runs the Fenix software externally. There's also GSX, which runs its own little external program. FS2 Crew is its own external little program. The mini cockpit has its own interface program. The WinWing has its own interface program. I've got V-Pilot running to connect to VATSIM. I've got a Pilot's Life running. I've got FSU IPC running to connect to Pilot's Life. you know, all these different things come together. It's sometimes it's miraculous that there's not glitches more often. That's, you know, that's kind of one of my conclusions, is like we should be having glitches probably more often than we do for all the stuff that's going on here. But anyways, just watch my VATSIM map here. It looks like near Nikda is where I actually enter the radar airspace there, so it's still a ways away. But yeah, there's always something that comes up, so you just sort of, you got to take it for granted. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know. You got all these libraries, you got all this scenery running. There's a lot of stuff that has to be compatible with a lot of stuff, and when things fail, it doesn't totally surprise me. It disappoints me a little, but it doesn't totally surprise me, just because of the inherent complex nature when you start to get into this advanced simming phase where you've got lots of additional pieces of software running to try and give you that most realistic immersive experience. Yeah, it's not surprising that stuff fails after a while. Okay, we should talk about this stuff here. We've gone through it. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
All right, this should hopefully prompt it to give me all this information. Yes, weather's good. We'll do runway wet, APU after landing. Yes, approach type ILS, terrain. Not terrain, really. Weather might be the biggest threat today. Auto land, no. Final sector, yes. FO, EFIS, LS required. That is yes. Minimum descent altitude, what did I say? 20. It's on there on the screen. 208. 208. Arrival airport altitude is 8 feet. Decision height in AGL is 200 feet. Transition level is at 6,500 today. Alright, save those changes. Perfect. Alright. So today, first of all, we have a good airplane. Nothing wrong with the airplane. Nothing failed in the airplane yet. And nothing failed on the airplane. No times for arrival. I should actually have a quick glance at these as well, see if there's anything that really does impact our arrival. If I can find my flight plan here. What do I do with my flight plan? It's here behind this. Let's just see if there's anything exciting going on in Copenhagen. Runways, guard lights, not available. And nothing for the approaches, so it's actually very minimal NOTAMs today. That's actually really good, so I like that. Okay, so the arrival today that we are currently planning on is the Monac 3 Charlie arrival. 4 Charlie arrival. Routing constraints are all as published. Everything is in the FMS, and vectors or potentially transition through Adobe to the ILS to runway 22 left in Copenhagen Kastrup. Plate 11-4, LOC OXS 1095-217. That's all been auto-tuned by the FMS, and the check height at 2 Lima Foxtrot is 2000. The ILSDA today is 208. The airport's at 17 feet, the runway is at 8 feet. The missed approach is as published or as advised by ATC with a top altitude on that of 3000. That's in the box as well. And the MSA highest to the northwest of the airport is 2100 feet. It's a standard 3-degree glide slope with pappers on the left, a full HIALS2 lighting system. And yeah, RVR 550 meters for this one today. 750 when a flight director, autopilot, or HUDs are not used if the touchdown solar center line lighting's out, but everything's working, so we got our RVR 550 approach today is good. And landing again on runway 22 left. We'll take a convenient right turn off the runway. We're going to target Bravo 4, most likely maybe Bravo 3. Go to a gate assigned by ATC. If they don't assign us one, we're going to go to gate Bravo 9. Let's see here. So approach configuration today, it's going to be a managed approach, so manual landing, localized slope couple approach, cleared for the approach. We will arm approach mode and the second autopilot. The anti-ice is going to most likely be off for this approach. I'm going to do auto brake low for now, and I'm going to actually go run the numbers in a second here. We'll do config full and max reverse initially until we start decelerating. We'll back off the reverse. Autopilot come off when runways in sight, landings assured, no traffic ahead. And yeah, let's do a landing calculation. That's about the only thing outstanding, I think. So let's do wet runway in case it does start raining, because there is a chance of rain in the forecast. It doesn't seem to like the METAR. There it is. All right, landing weight. That's one thing we do need. I think it's going to be about 63.5, I believe. Looks like this thing locked up again. 59.5, 63.5, 60, we'll call it 64 tons. So let's call it an even 64 tons. If we do low auto brake, that's weird. Why are you doing that? That is weird. Max reverse. Let's just do idle reverse. Manual landing, flaps full, auto thrust on, and looks like we have 2,200 meters on a 3,200 meter runway, 2,400 even with the factor to landing distance, so we do definitely have good landing distance even with low auto brake, so that's good. Any questions?
No questions.
All right. Really kind of have to use the washroom, but I think we're just gonna power through. We got 30 minutes here. I think we just power through this one and get done. That coffee's going through me, but we'll get it done. Because we're going to be entering airspace in probably about 10 minutes here. Maybe we can take a really quick little break here just to use the facility zone, because it's a truism in aviation that if you don't go to the washroom before you start your descent and approach, you're probably going to do a missed approach and end up holding for a while you still have to go to the washroom. Seems to be the way it happens. So I'll be right back in like 3-4 minutes, and then we'll be ready to start our descent. All right, we'll get the cinematic mode going here in a second. Let me just turn the volume down because it's always super loud outside. Here comes cinematic mode at you guys. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Okay, back on deck. Feeling better. Feeling ready now for this approach. And we should be pretty close to our top of descent point here. Nope, 40 miles to go. Yeah, getting pretty close. Working out pretty well. I think I asked him if he had any questions, right? I have control.
You have control.
Do we have a descent checklist in the official Airbus? No, it's just approach checklist, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay, so I think we got everything done. We're doing pretty well here. Let's pull up that frequency because once we start down here, it's going to get busy. EKDK center. And then do we do... I'm going to go with... This is probably... east. Covering airspace, lower airspace around Copenhagen. Alright, we'll do the... Now what is it? It's Copenhagen control. So we'll do 36485 as a primary here. So we'll do 136,485. Let's see if this is the right one here anyways. If it's not, he'll point me to the other guy. It's going to be at NICTA, so basically... Yeah, why don't we call him now, actually? It's probably actually a good idea. We're getting pretty close. Copenhagen Control, good day. Scandinavian 1686, flight level 360. All right, the 22 left in Copenhagen, Monac 4, Charlie arrival, and sorry, say again the direct two-way point. All right, direct to Nexo, Scandinavian 1686. One ready to send flight level 200, Scandinavian 1686. There's direct Nexo. For some reason... Just make sure I'm spelling this correctly here. N-E-K-S-O. N-E-K-S-O. And that does look like it goes pretty straight, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Direct Nexo. But we're going to start down now. Mock descent all blue, because it's probably going to have us starting that descent shortly here. It took me a little while to find it. We just started a descent, Scandinavian 1686. One, 2, 3, 730, Scandinavian 686. One, 2, 3, 730. It's almost too many numbers to remember. It's funny because like I can do like North American ones that don't include the 833 kilohertz spacing, no problem. But the extra digit really throws me. Copenhagen Control, hello, Scandinavian 1686, descending 350, flight level 200, direct Nexo. We have information Alpha. descend 090, and we'll expect vectors to the ILS-22 left, Scandinavian 1686. Wow, talking to ATC is... I haven't been doing it much for the last little while. It's really kind of throwing me here. Okay, but it looks like... okay, so we're below the path, so that's good. That's looking good. We are already direct Nexo. We got that in there. There's something weird going on with MCDU 1 here. Seems to be. And my WinWing has also failed me again. So there's something weird going on. I'm going to have to look this up because I thought maybe it was a glitch last time. But there's definitely something going on here. TAT of -16, some clouds. So let's get the engine anti-ice on for this descent. Alright, we're on path. Looking good to get down. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this. You guys don't need to see that anymore. I'm just going to close some things down that don't need to be open. Free up some processing power on my computer here. But alright, so far everything's looking good. We're just going down the hill. It's weird without background noise. So there's background noise again. Is there a tower or anything here, or is it just the center controllers? EDJ, DLP towers? No, it's just the center controllers all the way down. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, he was just talking to him. I should have just, like, listened. He was literally just talking to the guy. Okay, it's weird. I didn't reset the software, and now all of a sudden... my MCDU is working, so it's weird. It glitches, it stops getting information for a while, then it gets it back again. Interesting. Don't know why that is. It's weird. But anyways, we got ATC again. We got some ATC to guide us down to Copenhagen here. Where's our charts here again? So we are shortcutting to Nexo here. So I think we're coming across this spit of land right here, and then we're coming across, we'll be coming down the channel between, I believe it's Sweden and Denmark over here. It'll be Sweden on the right, Denmark on the left. You can probably just see it there. I don't see too much on the weather radar right now. The weather radar looks pretty clean. I don't see too much out there, so it looks like the low ceilings, they were forecast to start in the next couple of hours, so it looks like we're okay. Like it's pretty VMC at this point. Visibility unlimited. I don't remember what the ceiling was, but it's definitely very reasonable. We got another layer of cloud down there, but I think we probably take off the anti-ice for a period of time here anyways. As we go down, it's already TAP +1. There's a good chance we'll be TAP +10 before we hit that cloud deck down there anyways as we go down. So, looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited. It's working out pretty well. MCDU is a little glitchy. I gotta run that update on the software and see if that fixes the problem. But okay. We're going down the hill. We've done an approach briefing. We're all set up. We got auto brake low. We've checked the landing performance. We have a gate. We might have to change it when we get there, but we have a gate anyways. I wonder if GSX will let me select a gate now from this altitude. Like, that's one thing that I wish GSX would do, is let you select a gate before you start down. They do. It used to be limited 10,000 feet. You couldn't do it till you hit 10,000 feet. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, GSX. Because once you get below 10,000 feet, things start to get busy in an airliner. You don't want to be dealing with gate selection at that point. You want to be dealing with gate selection before you start down. That's new. I don't know how new that is. I haven't tried for a while, but for a long time, that was the restriction. GSX would not let you select a gate Oh, all this time you guys couldn't even hear the ATC. I didn't even realize that. Oh. It was coming through my headset, not on the stream volume. Ah, sorry guys. All right, well, we are talking to Copenhagen now anyways. I thought I had that setting set up already, but no, I had it incorrect. Ah, why didn't somebody tell me something? When the conversations were all one-sided, it should have been a good sign that something was not right. Oh, that's okay. Oh, there's actually a little bit of precipitation on the weather radar showing up now. You see it just to the left there slightly. Just a little bit. A little bit of precipitation showing up there, but nothing too bad. Very reasonable anyways. I don't think it's going to be any kind of a serious issue, but it is nice to have with a radar that functions. Alright, so now we're coming up to the second cloud deck here. We should have a tap probably approaching plus 10. Yeah, we got plus 11, so no need for any more anti-ice. We've got Sweden on the right side and Denmark on the left. And we're just going to come up right the channel between them, swing around to land in Copenhagen. Okay, I didn't realize that you guys were not able to hear that ATC because it was really loud in my ears and I assumed you guys could hear it, but they're...
Scandinavian 1686, proceed direct to Adobe.
Sorry, say the fix for Scandinavian 1686?
Scandinavian 1686, proceed direct to Adobe.
Direct to Adobe Scandinavian 1686. Direct. Seems to be this direct thing there.
Airwing 56 Romeo, cleared direct to Delta Hotel 657.
To Delta Hotel 657, Airwing 56 Romeo.
And American 617, heavy airborne passing through 1400 for 70.
American 617, radar contact. Climb
Weird that it only works on number 2 and number 1 seems to be very unreliable. First idle descent, all blue. Gave it a little reversion because now it's got to recalculate its new vertical path here. So now it's going to do an even higher vertical path. But I don't think we want to do a higher vertical path. It is going to cross Adobe at 4,000, so that's fine. That's the target anyways. Okay. As long as you can cross Adobe at 4,000.
American 617, fly heading 310 degrees. You can expect shortcut in a few minutes.
Fly heading 310, American 617.
It definitely feels like the engine controls are a little bit more abrupt. I don't know what's going on with it these days. It's just taking time to accelerate from idle or what, but it's weird that the MCDU 1 does not like directs. Seems to be okay until I have to do like a direct onto a second page. And as soon as it's direct on a second page, that's when it seems to not like it for some reason. I don't know why. Gonna have to do some research, I guess.
Scandinavian 22, descent to altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 1011, high speed is approved.
Delta 4,000, it's QNH,
1013, set, passing,
Scandinavian 1686, descent altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 1011, high speed
now.
is approved.
Sorry, say the altitude again for Scandinavian 1686?
Scandinavian 1686, descent to altitude 4,000 feet, QNH is 1011, and high speed approved.
Alright, sorry about that. The first officer was talking right at that moment. 4,000 feet, high speed approved, QNH 1011, Scandinavian 1686.
Yep, no problem.
Los Angeles.
That's not right at all. Not Los Angeles. Alright, so 4,000 feet is set. High speed is approved.
Airwing 56 Romeo, stop your climb line level 230.
Right,
That will be your final level for today.
Thrust idle open descent all blue.
climb 230, Airwing 56 Romeo.
So it's planning a level off here, but we're not going to do the level off. Keep the speed up. And, approach checklist.
Barrow ref.
Well, standard for now, 1011 in the back. QNH 1011. QNH 1011.
1, 0, 1, 3, set, seatbelts.
Skyline 71 Kilo Copenhagen, you're cleared to Milan, or I next to Charlie departure,
On.
set squawk 0256.
208 feet set.
Auto brake.
Low.
Scandinavian 71 Kilo
Low armed.
Engine mode selector.
Zero wings 5
Normal.
Romeo contact
Approach
Bremen radar,
checklist
frequency
completed.
120.540, bye-bye.
120.5 for hearing 5 Romeo, head up.
Trying to get myself
American 617, resume on navigation, proceed direct
into
to
position
Amsterdam.
here, ready to go.
Roger, navigation to speed direct to Amsterdam for American 617.
Scandinavian 1521, contact Copenhagen, frequency 136.485, bye-bye.
Roger, we're over to Copenhagen now, 136.485, sending 1521. Good night.
American 617, climb to flight level 240.
240, 617.
Speed limit exceeded. That's fine. Authorized by ATC. The approach via does not seem to be coded in here, so we'll have to just clear the restriction net. Clear the discontinuity. Alright, yep.
Station calling, that was static noise only, try again.
So about that, command control option 3, Juliet passing 340 for 180 in Vampyrum.
Lower Austin 303 Juliet, Copenhagen Control, proceed direct to Nexo, descend flight
So we'll
level
have some good
090.
screenshots.
Direct to next one, descend to flight level 090, Austin 303 Juliet.
Canadian 71 Kilo, request push and start.
Speed 250
Canadian 71
selected.
Kilo, push and start is approved, release point 01,
Transition
QNH 1011.
011 Kilo 11, Scandinavian 71 Kilo.
Transition 1011. I don't know if he actually knows what it means or not.
1686, turn left heading 350, descend 3000.
Left turn 350, descend 3000, Scandinavian 1686. Alright, heading is 350, 3000 feet is set, we're in open descent.
Austin 303 Juliet, set new squawk 4676.
Keep the speed coming back here in preparation for arrival.
Austin 303 Juliet, radar contact after Nexo, follow the Monarch 4 Charlie arrival, landing runway is
Bridge there, followed by a tunnel.
After next one, following Monarch 4 Charlie.
Alright, so let's go direct to XTAR with a radial in of 036. That sounds about right. That looks good.
That's going to be 1686. I can offer a short approach if you're ready for that.
Yes, we're ready. Scandinavian 1686.
Scandinavian 1686, turn left heading 325, descend 2000.
Left turn 325, descend 2000, Scandinavian 1686. We're going to have to really hustle, but we can do this.
Copenhagen Control, good evening.
Flaps 1.
2862,
Speed checked.
ready for push and start.
Flaps 1.
Scandinavian 2862, Copenhagen Control, hello. Push and start is approved, release point Zulu 6, QNH 1011.
No change in status from status.
Push and start approved, QNH 1011, release point Zulu 6, Scandinavian 2862.
Gear down.
Gear down. Cabin crew be seated for landing.
Flaps 2.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Alright, now we are configured to start down.
Scandinavian 1686, turn left heading 250, cleared ILS approach, runway 22 left.
Left turn 250, cleared the ILS 22 left, Scandinavian 1686. Alright, so we got the heading of 250.
22, fly heading 120 degrees, vectoring for ILS.
I hear him calling.
Descend 3000. Yep, and you missed the last part of descend 3000.
Cabin is now secure for landing.
Thank you.
3000 is also.
Alright. Let's go Cat 3 dual autopilot 1 and 2. We got Loc and glide slope blue. And we're coming in just underneath the slope. This is going to work out well.
Radar altimeter alive.
If we hadn't dropped the gear though, we would have never made it down.
And Scandinavian 2862, can we request pushback on mic?
Look-Star.
Unable to customize.
2862, and that is approved.
Thank you.
Wow, I can't believe we made it down. I was really skeptical we were going to make it, but thank goodness it was VMC too. But alright, there's speed, Alt-Star, leveling at 2000.
Austrian 303 Juliet, fly direct to Charlie Hotel 625.
Red Charlie Hotel 625, Austrian.
I can't remember if there were speed restrictions on final or not. I don't think there were. I think it just at the X-Tar fix there.
Scandinavian 1686, runway 22 left, clear to land, winds are 180 degrees, 10 knots.
22 left, clear to land, Scandinavian 1686, thank you.
American 617,
Glide slope
contact
star.
Copenhagen,
Just approach altitude 3,000 feet is set. Speed's managed. Flaps 3.
We'll see you.
Speed checked.
Yeah.
Scandinavian 71 kilo.
Flaps 3.
Scandinavian 71 kilo, taxi to holding point Echo 1 for 2 to right via Romeo and Bravo, cross runway 12.
Romeo Bravo, cross 12, holding Echo 1, Scandinavian 71 kilo.
Yeah, I was skeptical, honestly, that we are going to make it down. It's like, I know we can go down quickly, but I was still skeptical that it was going to work. But it did work in the end. It was quite nice in the end. Huh. Glide slope. It definitely took an aggressive slowdown. Full speed brakes.
Delta 1.
Flaps 1, gear down, flaps 2. If you can get flaps 2 out and the gear out, you can usually get a lot of drag in an Airbus. The key is getting it to slow down enough to get the flaps 2. That's often the challenge, especially if you're still trying to descend. Flaps full.
To Argus via Golga to Charlie departure, runway to the right.
Full.
Landing checklist.
Squawk 7063, Scandinavian 175, Papa.
Landing no blue.
175 Papa, correct.
Landing checklist completed. 1,000.
Alright, looking good. Do I feel...
Scandinavian 22, turn right heading 170.
We are cleared to land.
170.
We are right on the numbers here.
Austrian 303 Juliet, descend altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 1011, high speed is approved.
Alright, autopilot's coming off. Cat 1.
Scandinavian 22, turn further right, heading 190 degrees, cleared ILS approach runway 22 left.
Turn right 190, or clear ILS 22 left.
500.
Alright, Pierce stable. Back on glide slope. Don't drift high. Land.
100 above.
100 above.
Minimums.
Continue.
Minimum.
Checked.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
Scandinavian 71 kilo, ready upon reaching.
Oh.
Scandinavian 71 kilo,
Not a good landing.
right, clear takeoff, wind 2203,
Spoilers. Reverse screen. Decel.
59 clear for takeoff, Scandinavian 71 kilo.
And
70 knots.
I'm so used to flaring early. The Fenix always need to flare early before, and it's changed. The dynamics have changed. You don't need to flare early, but I'm so used to Phoenix needing to flare early or it would float. Or it smash in the ground if you didn't flare early.
Scandinavian 22, runway 2 to left, clear to land, wind of 220 degrees, 11 left.
Land to left, San Antonio.
Scandinavian 175 Papa, request push back and start.
Scandinavian 175 Papa, push and start is approved, release point Sierra 1, QNH 1011.
Push back and start up approved, release Sierra 1, QNH 1011, Scandinavian 175 Papa.
Scandinavian 1686, welcome to Copenhagen, taxi to San Bravo 9er, that'll be via taxiways Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Zulu and Papa, cross runway 12.
Okay, Scandinavian 1686, taxi to gate Bravo 9er via Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Zulu, Papa, cross runway 12. Alright, so this is Bravo right here. If I could actually get the tiller to actually turn. This bad tillers really drive me nuts. Not a good landing. Not a good landing. That bounced.
Copenhagen, good afternoon.
I flared too high because I was used to the way the Phoenix used to flare, so then I had to let it down, and then it came down really hard the second time. That was just not a good landing. I've done such nice landings with the Phoenix. I learned how to land the Phoenix. It's different from landing an Airbus, and now I have to relearn how to land the Phoenix.
Cleared Nuke by the Goga Charlie departure.
After landings.
2066, Scandinavian 1294.
1294 to confirm score 2036. 20.
After landing checklist.
Scandinavian 1294.
Radar and predictive wind shear system.
Scandinavian 2862 requesting taxi.
Off.
After landing checklist completed.
Taxi holding point Delta 142 to right via minus.
After landing flow.
Alpha, cross runway 12.
Radar and predictive wind shear system.
Off.
Mike Zulu Alpha crossing.
After landing checklist completed.
Austin 303,
Okay,
this
is Bravo.
Present heading, vector 445 is
Center 3000, continue present heading for vector side.
Alright, it was Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Zulu, Papa. So this is Charlie, Delta.
Scandinavian 71 kilo, climb line level 280, proceed direct to external.
Zulu.
280, direct to external.
Papa. Okay, I got the taxi right here now. So this is Charlie.
Mobile phones may now be used on board and smoking is not permitted inside the terminal. Thank you for choosing to fly with us.
The next
It's been
lander.
a pleasure looking after you today. On behalf of your crew, we wish you a safe onward journey and hope to see you again soon.
Okay, the landing was not great. The approach worked out pretty nicely. That tight approach worked out really nicely. The landing was not good. I will 100% acknowledge that. I don't know how to land the Phoenix anymore. I'm going to have to practice. Because you used to have to flare at 50 feet in the Phoenix because it was always coming down so hard and would not react enough. So you had to pull full back on the stick almost at 50 feet to get any kind of an arrest in your descent. Now if I do that, it stops descending at 50 feet. And then I had to let it down again, and then I let it down too much. So I'm just going to have to practice. This is what we have to do to learn how to land the Phoenix again with the newly tuned flight dynamic system.
If I'm ready for shop approach, Austin 338.
But regardless, we're here. It wasn't a great landing, but we're here.
Center 2000 feet on present heading, Austin 338.
This is Delta.
722, welcome to Copenhagen. Taxi stand Charlie 37 via Bravo.
Crossing runway 12. Strobes on for the crossing.
It's 12, less than ATC.
Alright, once we cross, Zulu is the... I can't remember if it's the first or the second.
Copenhagen, good evening.
Look at the second here. Hopefully the signs will guide us as well. Fine, should guide us here.
Copenhagen control,
It looks like Zulu is the first one here. So left turn on Zulu, and then Pop, I'm pretty sure, is almost the right turn right away to get into the alley.
Here to Golga to Charlie departure, climbing via SID level 70, confirm, and Squawk 4749.
Squawk 4745.
Alright, strobes back off again.
4745, 7 Alpha True, thank you.
This is Zulu. Foxtrot, I don't believe this is Papa yet. I think Papa is this next lane right here. Yes, there's the sign for Papa. Okay, perfect.
175 Papa, call you back in a moment.
Left.
Austin 303 Juliet, and left 250, clear left 2.
Right.
Left 250,
Yeah, Copenhagen's a big airport, and there's a lot of Scandi planes here today.
175 Papa, taxi left onto Romeo, hold short of taxiway whiskey.
Adding to the joy, am I?
Taxi,
alright, so far so good. Okay, we made it today, which is better than last time. Disappointed with a few things, mostly that landing. That landing was not great. It really wasn't. I do need to practice this a little bit here. But we'll get better with time. I got really good at landing the Phoenix with the old flight model. I will get it with this flight model as well. Alright, that's Bravo 17, 15. Bravo 9 is going to be a fair way up here by the looks of it. Let me just pull out my, while I'm trying to navigate this, Bravo 17, 15, Bravo 9 should be right after 17 and 15 here. So it should be this one right here. That looks like Bravo 9. Beautiful. I don't see any, is he ground crew here? I don't see a marshaller. I feel like he's probably in the building. We may have to do a self-marshal here. Alright, let's get the lights off. Lights off. Accumulator pressure's good. Weather radar is off, so we don't zap the guy. The anti-ice is off.
Copenhagen, hello, Kimber 126, leveling 190.
Hello, Kimber 126, Copenhagen control, radar contact. After Tano, follow 53 Charlie arrival, landing runway.
Boy, that bridge is really
Toronto,
close,
10-3 Charlie, QT left, Kimber 126.
Looks like we're just going to hit this bridge.
100.
Hello, is the 1778 Copenhagen control, radar contact. Plan level 280.
It's always closer than it actually looks, but still. Stop there for a second.
Line 7 altitude, yes, cruise and start is full,
281
Let me go external, let me go spot so I can actually just find the wheels. And we're not even close yet. Right, now I can at least self-marshal myself here.
Can I include any reason you're holding? Traffic is waiting for you?
Traffic on the ramp.
Yes, exactly, they're waiting.
Okay. Spot number 5 should be good. Good enough. That was far enough out of the way. The wheels should be there.
2862, radar contact, plan level 240.
Alright, park and brake is set. Alright, APU is available. Shutting her down. Belts off. Yes, I will. Thank you. Just out of my way for a moment, please. Alright, engines are definitely powering down, beacon off. GSX is going to complain though, not in the right spot, but I didn't know where to park because... Oh no, he's not complaining. Oh, they're happy with it. Usually GSX is very complaining. Alright, there they go. Bridge is coming on, perfect. Cabin door's already showing open. Slides are disarmed, so we can go ahead and shut everything off.
Fly direct to Beatty, expect vector fire.
External power already, which is really good. Turn off all this stuff. Zero the altitude.
Okay, when ready to send flight level 130, and we're direct to Beatty, Kimber 126.
And let's just check on the drifts. Drifts are very reasonable, all well under 5. Fuel, burn 5.2, 4 tons less, so that would be 9.2. That's pretty much the correct amount of fuel. Brakes, warm, not overly hot. Status, nothing unusual. Parking checklist.
Copenhagen Control, hello. Pushing start is approved. Release point Alpha 50.
Parking brake or chocks.
Are set. Set.
Engines.
Off.
Wing lights.
Off.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking checklist completed.
2862 radar correction. Proceed direct to Bulga.
Woo! Alright, we made it. And a pilot's life seems to think we have made it too. I'm a little bit scared to check my score with that landing because that was a pretty hard landing. I will definitely not deny that. But let's admit it. We can look at it. It's not what I would have liked. I have to practice this airplane now. I do have to say overall though, I do like the Fenix update. I'm just going to mute this guy here.
Nordic 556,
I don't need to hear them anymore. I'm pretty happy with this update overall. It's mostly a good update. There were some issues. There are still some issues with it, and I seem to be having some MCDU issues. I'm not sure. The funny thing is that, like, even in the sim, MCDU 1 wouldn't accept those direct to. So I think there's a problem here with something with Fenix per se. I don't know what, but just with the fact that it's not just WinWing, but even in the sim, it's MCDU 1 seems to be locking up a little bit. That seems to be a problem. Still got a score of 98. So that hard landing must have been the only thing I lost a score on here. Nope, actually, the landing they didn't care about. They said the landing was 188. Maybe that was the second landing. The only thing I lost was for the initial approach because I had high speed on the approach, and they docked me 2 points for that because I was over 280 knots. So 280 knots, if I could do less than 280 knots as a high speed descent, I could still win on that. Okay, still a pretty good score. Ready for our next flight? Not today. Next flight will be Copenhagen over to London Heathrow. That's going to be another day. Oh my god, my sim's going to die going London Heathrow, because if anything ever killed P3D, it was always London Heathrow. London Heathrow was just a bear of an airport to fly into, because the scenery, there's so much urban scenery, there's so many buildings, there's so much stuff around there. It's just phenomenal to try and fly in and out of it. Not to mention the scenery itself at the airport is big, it's intense. There's usually a lot of airplanes flying around London Heathrow, especially this time of day. There'll probably be a dozen or more airplanes on the ground in London Heathrow. It's gonna really strain my computer, even with the good video card in here. But nevertheless, it's gonna be fun, and that was fun. I'm glad we finally got this flight done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Why is my camera moving slightly? Am I breathing? That's weird. That's weird. I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to do this. How about cinematic mode? There you go. Do some cinematic modes as we get ready for the shutdown here. But, yeah. Other than the landing, I thought the landing was not great. I will 100% admit that. I need to practice the landing in the Fenix to get used to it again. But I thought overall, that was a great flight. We had some ATC to make it interesting. We didn't have any airplane issues, but we did have lots of time to discuss some stuff, and we'll have to definitely do some streams again in the future. But that's enough for me today. I've got some stuff I got to do in a little while, so I'm going to head out. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I appreciate it. I'm always happy to see you guys and be streaming with you guys. The summer's just been so busy that the opportunities to stream have not presented themselves. It's just been smoking busy. Work is kind of busy, but then there's also just a lot of activities, which is not bad. A lot of time spent with the family, which is good. You know, kids are not in school; they're at home. We're doing activities together, so that's a great thing. That's just that was normally how I would kind of find the time to stream before. So with that being said, probably this might be the last stream for August. But once September rolls around and we get into a kind of a normal schedule again with school and whatnot, chances are the streams will become a little bit more regular, twice a month at least, hopefully, if not more. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. I had lots of fun doing that. And, yeah, we will see you guys all out there in the VATSIM skies. Fly safe, have fun, and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.